Road Atlanta, easily one of the most popular tracks in iRacing, a fan favorite amongst any league you join, and definitely a fan favorite in the Throttle Freaks League here this evening. I'm Rob Campbell, and again in the booth with me, Richard Swindells. This week we head off to round 7 to the beautiful Road Atlanta. Has the sun setting in the distance out there. Beautiful night for racing. You can see we got 24-degree air temp, 26-degree track temp. Can't really ask for much more than that, Rich. But Road Atlanta, I know it's one of my favorites. I believe it's one of your favorites too as well. And we even know it's one of Zippy, our fearless leader's Princess approved tracks. We'll throw in his staple name for his tracks he approves of. But Road Atlanta never fails for being a fan favorite.
Yeah, Road Atlanta. I mean, last week we had a great race at one of our other favorite tracks, and this week we're at the other favorite track, Road Atlanta. A much tighter track in terms of shorter lap times, but definitely it's got all those technical sections as well as high speed, great drafting sections, elevation changes, twisty S's. It's got a little bit of everything, all in a short, compact circuit.
Yeah, it's a shorter track. I think they're running about just under 119 for lap time here, so not really a whole lot of time to make a move around there. Road Atlanta, again, as I mentioned, it's a fan favorite track, but it's really not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities, Rich. You've got turn 10A, which is generally your best overtaking position, maybe into turn 1 if you really get a run out of turn 12, but really that's about it unless somebody makes a mistake somewhere and you really lunge up underneath them. So our driver's gonna have to show a little bit of patience here tonight, try and make a move and not cost them a spot or a spot to their competitors too as well. But let's take a quick look here at the schedule. So we're into round 7, so you can see the races we already started out at Red Bull Ring, Watkins. We were off to Portimao and Algarve, Mugello, Road America for round 5. Then last week we were at the Circuit of Americas. This week, Road Atlanta. Next week, we're going to head to Le Mans, world famous Le Mans. And then the penultimate round at Sebring. And we're going to finish everything up back in Italy at Imola. So still a few great tracks left to come here, Rich. Definitely a couple I'm looking forward to seeing a little later on. Le Mans, it's not generally the great track for overtaking and passing, but there's always
I'm not a huge fan myself, Rob, of Le Mans, but yeah, it's there, and it's gonna be a big long track for them.
Yeah, it's more of a strategy track, I guess, when you play your pit strategy. But with a 35-minute sprint race or fixed race, and then the sprint 40 minutes, not a whole lot of strategy to play with there. So we'll have to see how it goes. But we do have a championship underway here, and we've got two classes. Our pro class. Let's take a look quickly here at how our pro class standings are shaping out. Tyler Graff leading the way. He's had a strong season so far, a number of wins. It's got him up top of the pro standings with 241 points. David Bush III in second spot, 205 points, quite a ways back from Tyler Graff, but also taking into account drop weeks are starting to take effect, and we did see D Bush missed one of the weeks, so we'll see how that works out once we get a little further on in the schedule. Jason Park currently in third, Jared Keane in fourth, Brett Thurman rounding out the top 5. And you can quickly see the rest of our drivers through the top 10. Towards the back of the top 10, we still got a fairly tight battle out there, Rich. A lot of places to be made up potentially through the rest of the season here. But switch over to the AM class, and you can just kind of take us through what we're seeing there.
Yeah, leading the amateur right now, still holding on, is Kevin Berquist. Kevin making use of consistency over pure outright pace, followed in second by Waldo Walden. Third, we've got Jacob Fichtner, and then following him close behind, we've got Robert Jeffries. Rounding out your top 5, we've got Jop Sheps, and then there's a little bit of gap going down to 6 and throughout the rest of the field.
Yeah, we've got still tight battles all throughout this one, all the way back to our 23rd place driver. And then we still have SDK working on the team's championship. Lo and behold, we got Richard Swindells with the team points handy there. Rich, why don't you take us through those?
Yeah, in the team championships, Lunatic Racing right now are our current leaders. They've got 352 points, and they're followed by B&O Cardomania by just 3 points behind at 349. Then there's a little bit of a gap down to SRTE Green at 328, followed by Riot Motorsports in 4th, tied with SRTE Black.
Yeah, so still tight battle up top with a lot of these teams having 3 drivers, Rich, and taking the best 2 results of those 3 drivers. Still a lot of room for movement amongst the team's championship. But Brett Thurman up top right now in qualifying. We talked to Brett not long ago. I believe it was last week where he was hoping for a strong showing. Didn't quite work out the way he was hoping for, but he's back here again this week, showing some strong pace in his Porsche 911. Got himself up top of this one, 700ths over Jay Steffi in second place. So real tight battle all amongst our top five, only separated by 2/10. So plenty of drivers real tight at the top of the field. It's interesting to see. We've got a couple drivers that necessarily haven't been up at the top in qualifying. Jay Steffi, strong showing right now in the Acura. Jay, one of our AM drivers, leading the way here in the AM class, got himself firmly mixed in amongst the pro drivers.
Yeah, and that's been something we've been noticing all season long here is the amateurs have really fared well against the pros. So it's really a matter of who's got the pace that night, and Jay Steffi is up there as we take a look at Kevin Berquist, our amateur leader, just making his round, going down the long straight downhill section, going into turn 10A, followed by 10B, leading up to the final corner. Go back onto the front pit straightaway.
I'll be interested to see. We talked to, excuse me, David Bush III last week about his potential showing at Road Atlanta. He thought he was going to be strong in the Lambo. Right now, he's sitting back in 12th place right now. He's into the pits. We'll see if he comes out for another run here at qual, but probably not as high up in the standings he was hoping to be sitting right now at this point in time, Rich. But still a little bit of time to go. We've got 2.5 minutes left. Plus, if our drivers get across the line before the clock ticks over, we do have that little bit of extra run time that is afforded during an open qualifying session like we have right now, where it's not a fixed time limit, where everybody just disappears as if Thanos snapped his fingers at the strike of 15.
Yeah, following on with Felix Feliz. Felix having one race win this season so far, a couple of top fives, and sitting in sixth in the points. Felix had a pretty decent season thus far. Really, Road Atlanta, I think all the drivers think they're going to do well because everybody's familiar with it, Rob. So it's really, it's not necessarily the easiest track to, take advantage of and be at the top because everybody knows it. It's not like Coda last week where only certain drivers, have familiarity. This track, as you said, is a favorite of iRacing, favorite of all the leagues. So everybody's raced this many times.
Yeah, I think the driver we're on board with right now, Tyler Graff, last week's winner, he was able to hold off David Bush III on the final lap. And that's exactly words out of his mouth last week, Rich, where he said he likes Road Atlanta, but also everybody likes Road Atlanta. So he expected the whole field to be tight here. And again, they are this week, although Brett Thurman opened up 3/10 over second place Jay Steffi. But from there on back, all the way back to, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of, quickly looking at timing and scoring, we've got less than a second separating first place all the way to 17th place to show you how tight the drivers are out on track right now. So you may be sitting numerous spots back from where you wanted to qualify, but in a relative time, you're not actually all that far back.
Yeah, and being a short track, I would expect to see some tight battling, lots of close racing. So you don't have to necessarily be at the front. You just have to stay clean and keep in the draft and be there when it counts. So on board here with Ross Sortino. Ross having some mixed results this season. A race one winner overall, but he is an amateur. Pick it back up. Luke Davis from Lunatic Racing. Lunatic Racing so far having a great season. Number one overall in the team championship. Luke representing them quite well.
Yeah, strong showing for him. Just quickly having a look to see. I don't see any penalties posted from last week, so I'm not sure if they just haven't had a chance to review them yet or what the process is. Maybe there was no protests at all, but we were curious whether Ross Sortino might get a couple penalties, as we saw him very aggressive on a couple overtakes, Rich. Really kind of threw the car up the inside of a number of different cars and potentially might have seen himself into the stewardery room. But I'm just having a look. Unless they didn't post it into the Discord, I'm not seeing any penalties posted from last week. So
No, I haven't seen any. I'm guessing perhaps there weren't any protests and everything was just kind of settled via personal discussion. And if that's the case, then I think some people may have gotten away with some things there, but hopefully that results in better racing this evening. We're following along with Andrew Trickett. Andrew from Artomania, the second place team. Andrew sitting in 10th right now. Let's see how Andrew does coming across through 10A, going around to 10B. Love those A and B corners, Rob. Definitely a different naming convention.
Yeah, of all the corners that get numbered on a lot of these tracks, Rich, I really have no understanding why they chose 10A and 10B for that section there. We've got so many other corners that are just basically the slightest of ever little kink in a straightaway that get a number. I'm looking at you, Road America, with turn number 4. But then you get like an obvious chicane here, a section at Road Atlanta, and they name it 10A and 10B. So it's mind-boggling. But looks like that's the end of qualifying. We're just waiting for the clock to tick over here as we're on board with David Bush III, our last driver that was on track, and he's come to a complete stop. And there, D. Bush is going to pull it off back into the pits. Excuse me. So once our timing and scoring clicks over here and finishes up qualifying, we'll have a look at our standings. But 24 cars in session right ahead onto the track. Again, Road Atlanta, not the biggest track or longest track in the session or the season that we're going to see. And hard to believe they actually run a multi-class racing here, Rich, with 3 different classes in real life and upwards of 60 to 63 cars on track. It's got to be just absolute chaos.
I've done multi-class racing with 2 classes and about 30 cars. I can't imagine having that many. That would just be insane. But we're going to pick it up. We've got Brett Thurman on pole once again, followed 2 tenths behind by Jay Steffi. In third, we've got Felix Feliz, followed by Jason Park. Tyler Graff, our championship points leader, sits in 5th, followed by Colin McKenzie with a strong showing in 6th. Ross Sortino is leader of our amateur tonight. He's sitting in 7th, followed by Jacob Fickner. In 9th, we've got Herbert Pineda, followed in 10th by Andrew Trickett.
Yeah, they're going to find Waldo Walden in 11th, Seb Goche in 12th. 13th place goes to Kevin Berquist, followed by David Bush III in 14th, Luke Davis in 15th. Alex Hillman's going to start 16th, Patrick Farrell in 17th, Robert Jeffries in 18th. 19th goes to Neil Alexander, and rounding out the top 20, we're going to find David Morse.
Yeah, finishing up, we've got Ian Cabana at 21st, followed by Drew DeWeese. Then we have Christopher Rhines, and our last driver is Mark Bray. I didn't set a time. I'm not sure if he's going to make the grid.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't see him on grid yet at this point in time. He's still ghosted out, so looks like maybe a no start here for Bray, but our drivers are getting lined up on the front straight. It looks like, unfortunately, we're doing a full pace lap here at Road Atlanta, but thankfully it's only a short lap. But we've been blessed so far this season, Rich, where we've had
thank you.
we've had short pace laps. So at the shortest track in the season, I think we can live with having a full pace lap here tonight.
Yeah, Road Atlanta's a short track. These drivers are, I'm sure, going to appreciate the opportunity to warm up the tires more than just going through 10A and 10B and the final turn 10, 11, and 12, or 11 and 12, because that's just not enough time to get these tires warmed up going into that really tough turn 1. Turn 1, like you said, that's one of the opportunities for making passes, but it's also a very dangerous one because you try and go around the outside, the grass comes on really, really quickly, and if you're going up the inside, there's not a whole lot of room.
Yeah, that's the thing with Road Atlanta is it's a very tight track. It's not one of these grade 1, FIA grade 1 tracks where it's got a ton of runoff. So you get into the far reaches of the corners, you're going to start touching grass very quickly, and not the kind of touch grass that your mother's been telling you to get away from the computer and go out and kick the ball around or play sticks with your neighbor and whacking each other. It's definitely going to hurt a whole lot more than that. You go barreling into one of these cement walls that are very close to the track surface. I actually I did that myself on a Saturday night race this past week in another league.
Oh,
I
not you, Rob, not you.
I did found a way to win the heat race to start, and the feature I had to invert, start from the back. Rich got through the first few drivers, and I was driving the Acura, which is a point I should make. We'll have to keep an eye on some of these cars that are a little stiffer sprung than the other ones. They don't necessarily like the curbs. The curbs are a bit of an issue here at Road Atlanta since they rescanned it. They added in the newer raised curbs, and some of these cars don't particularly go over those curbs too well. I'm speaking from experience in the Acura, where in that feature race, I binned it in the top of the S's took too much of the curve, bottomed out the bottom of the Acura and off into the wall I went. So Jay Steffi, Jason Park are top two Acuras here starting at the front. We'll have to see how they manage that.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of the Acura. You were probably running an open series, I'd assume, on Saturday night. Here, these guys are fixed, so they don't really have an opportunity to make any suspension or any other tuning adjustments. It's kind of they've got the only thing they've got is the brake bias. So let's see how these Acuras handle things. But meanwhile, we've got a Porsche, Brett Thurman, starting on pole.
Yeah, and we're heading down the mid straight or back straight, I guess you call it. And pace car is going to take you through 10A and 10B, and we'll be getting underway with Throttle Freaks Sprint, or sorry, Fix. This is the Fix Sprint to come, round 7. Okay, we're underway. Brett Thurman going to lead them around. He's not going to wait for the pace car. Pace car is in. Brett Thurman's going, and we are green. Off into turn 1. Thurman going to hold on to that position. Looks like Chase Steffi trying to make a move around the outside of Felix Feliz. Feliz was trying to follow Thurman around at the start. Steffi, our second place starter, having to battle hard to hold Felix Feliz off. Jason Park sitting there in the catbird seat if something were to happen amongst these two drivers. Tyler Graff, our championship leader, tucked in behind. Colin McKenzie right in behind him. So Thurman getting out to a massive start. Already opened up 2 seconds over second place Jay Steffi. So nice jump by Brett Thurman. Timed that start absolutely perfectly for the way he wanted to get it done. But Jay Steffi now starting to pull away with Felix Feliz. Feliz going to have to deal with that Acura of Jason Parkin behind, as well as Tyler Graff trying to make a move. So a lot of moving and shaking up at the top half of the field here as all of our drivers looks like they're still on track here, Rich. I'm not seeing any real incidents at the start of this one. A couple of cars dropping their tires off track, but nobody wrecking out by the looks of it.
Yeah, Neil Alexander had a little bit of an incident, but looks like he's regained control and he's back on just a few seconds back. Following along here with Brett Thurman. What a tremendous jump. I was worried he was going to get across the start finish line before the pace car even went in. He went so early, but obviously I was wrong because Brett is just putting on a charge. Coming around to complete the first lap, Brett has himself over a 1 second lead on second place. Jay Steffi, who is battling against Felix Feliz.
Yeah, a strong lap to start this one off for Thurman. That's exactly what he needed. Try and get out there out front and then let the rest of them battle in behind. The more they battle, that's the best thing Thurman can see, is that's going to allow him to open up that gap. As we see Steffi going a little wide, Feliz thought about sticking the nose into the inside, had to back out a little bit. That drops him back towards Jason Park. Park now in that battle for second spot. Just in behind them, Graff, McKenzie, Sortino, Fichtner, Trickett, they're all right there in tow. Our top 9 now starting to break away from the rest of the pack here, as a little bit of a gap between Trickett and Pineda. Pineda leading that secondary Peloton type pack of he, Walden, and Bush III, trying to close down that gap on the top pack, who right now opened up a half second over them.
Yeah, as this race progresses, we're only on lap 2 here of 35 minutes. I'd expect to see 3 or 4 different groupings going on, Rob. It's a short track, so you're never going to pull away from everybody behind you. We watch Colin McKenzie. Colin McKenzie all over battling with Ross Sortino, trying to hold off Ross. Ross, as we know, can be very, very aggressive. Ross looking up the inside of Colin, trying to make a move down the inside. Colin going around outside. Ross up the inside. They're going to touch fenders a little bit, and oh no! And Ross spun around by Colin as they were bumping and grinding going through the straightaway there.
Yeah. We'll have to take another look at that. I was going to mention that last week we saw those two drivers getting involved in something similar, where Sortino made the move, kind of pushed McKenzie out wide again, kind of similar to what happened there through turn 12. I think McKenzie was on the outside. Sortino really forced him all the way out. I'm not really sure if that was kind of leftover remnants from last week or not, Rich, but definitely stewards will probably be reviewing that one later on.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, I think, as the saying goes. As we hop on back on board, Jay Steffi. Jay Steffi's closing that gap down. Now he's only 3/4 of a second behind Brett Thurman. Brett Thurman continuing to lead this hard charge, leading from the drop of the green flag, actually before the drop of the green flag, all the way to here. And Jay Steffi looking to close that gap down. He's opened up a 1.3 second gap over Felix Feliz in third, following him fourth by Tyler Graff.
Yeah, strong lap 3 by Jay Steffi allowed him to close that gap in on our leader, Brett Thurman. So as they cross the line here, we'll take a look and see what the lap times were last time by. Steffi, fastest lap of the race, 118.78, a half second faster than Thurman that time by. So that explains exactly there, Rich, how he was able to close that gap up so quickly. The Acuras
Yeah, a
are
little bit.
fairly quick. They're not the quickest in the straight line, but they're very proficient on the brakes, as you've come to notice by just driving that car this season, Rich, since you've picked it up.
Yeah, it's a well-balanced car. It's not necessarily the fastest on the top end. It doesn't necessarily handle the best, but you add up all of its features, and you know, it's a great car in the GT3 class. We're picking it up with David Bush III. David Bush in 11th place now, up 3 positions. David not having the qualifying effort he was hoping for, starting in 14th. Our second place in the Pro Division driver is battling hard and looking to make some gains here, closing up on Waldo Walden and Herbert Pineda ahead of him.
Yeah, well, we got a moment. Things are kind of settled down here a little bit. Let's take another look at that incident between Sortino and McKenzie. You see, they rubbed a little bit there. Sortino kind of forced him out wide. It looked like when McKenzie came back on, might have overcorrected a little bit, got into the corner of Sortino. But like you said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. One would almost say there's another saying, Rich, kind of goes around the saying of, it starts with the letter in between E and E and G, and you find her out quickly if you do it. And I think that might have been a result of Ross Sortino just kind of pushing his luck one too many times here.
Wow, as we watched David Bush the third, David going in hard into that corner, but avoiding contact and closing up the gap thoroughly. Tyler Graff, our championship points leader. Now Tyler is closing on to Jason Park. These drivers battling hard here. Tyler really sitting in the same position he started, and there's been no changes actually in our top 6 drivers. They are all in the positions they started in, Rob.
Yeah, strong showing by our top 6. Andrew Trickett has moved himself up into 7th place, up 3 spots from where he started, but otherwise the rest of the top 10 more or less where they started. So the moving and shaking has been a little farther back in the pack. We've seen a number of drivers move up and down, namely Sortino down 15 spots because of that incident, but Alex Hillman out as well. Looks like he's been out early on. I'll have to see if I can find what happened to him. But up top, Brett Thurman starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Jay Steffi. Steffi's put in a couple quick laps the last time by. He's closing down that gap on Thurman. We know the Porsche is quick in the twisty sections, so we'll see if he's able to use the prowess of the Porsche to open that gap back up over Steffi. But right now, Steffi really pushing the envelope to try and close that gap on Thurman up ahead. They've opened about 2.8 seconds over Felix Flees in 3rd place, is having to deal with Jason Park right now.
Yeah, but here's where we really have our first real battles going on. We've got Jason Park having a great battle. He's trying to close up on Felix Feliz. We got Tyler Graff right behind him, and a little further behind we've got Colin McKenzie. This pack of 3 cars is looking to close up on Jay Steffi and Brett Thurman up ahead, and at this point in time, they're a couple of seconds back, but as long as they don't battle too hard, I know everybody wants that podium, but if you want to get up into 2nd or 1st, battling right now is not the time.
Yeah, it's a short sprint race though, Rich. You don't have a whole lot of time. I know we've kind of preached it here and there where it's we like to say it's a long race, really don't push that hard at the start, but this one's the short one though. It's 35 minutes. Even our sprint race later on, it's only 40 minutes. It's not like some of these other 45-minute, 50-minute races where you can kind of bide a little bit of time, try and feel out the car ahead of you. You really got to go right from the race start in this one. Now doesn't mean go as in drive through, guys, but you really can't afford to hold back and waste a whole lot of time. As we see David Bush III, our 2nd place driver in the Pro Championship. He's on the back of Waldo Walden now, starting to put some pressure on him. He's got Seb Gauthier in tow. Bush III up 3 spots. Right now, he is our 2nd biggest mover of the day. Right now, Christopher Rhines, currently sitting in 19th place, got himself up 4 spots on the day. He's got Ian Cabana just ahead of him, trying to chase down Ian Cabana. I believe Rhines is our only driver in a BMW in both series we feature tonight. So Ryan's kind of holding the candle for the Bavarian Motorworks team.
Yeah, Ryan's holds the, I guess, the title of the world's ugliest grill, and but doing a great job. He's up 4 spots today. We're gonna pick it up here. We've got Robert Jeffries in Cardomania Porsche. Robert battling against David Morse, who is right behind him in the Acura. David is up 3 positions. Jeffrey's up 2. They're going down the long back straightaway, just about to enter the downhill section. And let's see if a move is made by David Morse.
Looks like Morse going to try and make a move on the inside. Jeffrey's going to take the defensive line. He'll hold him off for the first corner, but Morse will have the inside line for the next corner. Oh, it's going to be serving off track there. Oh, they're going to touch. Around goes Jeffries, and Morse is going to continue on. That's probably another incident our stewards are going to be reviewing there, but Jeffrey's going to get it turned back around, back on track. He's probably not going to be overly thrilled with that maneuver there, but again, the stewards get paid more than us to deal with that. But back up front, Steffi now officially back in play for top spot as he has caught Brett Thurman. So now it'll be interesting to see if Steffi goes into fuel save mode, is see if he chooses to stay in behind Thurman, possibly save some fuel and try and undercut him through pit strategy and leapfrog him that way, or if he's just going to go for all out pedal to the metal and try and move around the bad Santa car of Brett Thurman.
Yeah, so far, Jay Steffi's had the fastest lap of the race by anybody, but as we see here, they've got a 2.5 second gap to third place. So is now the time to take advantage and jump to the lead, or is it just let's gap these guys a little bit more and then we'll race a little harder a few minutes more down the road. We're only in lap 8, 10.5 minutes in of this 35-minute race here, and Jay Steffi just content right now, tuck in behind and close that gap up a little bit more.
Yeah, Steffi kind of showed his nose a little bit into turn 10, letting Thurman know he's there now and potentially ready to take that spot away if something were to happen. But again, showing a different line through the top of turn 3 into the S's. I don't think Steffi's just going to stay tucked in there. He looks like he wants to take that spot away from Thurman and lead the race. So we'll see if he can close that gap and make a move. He's been able to catch Thurman, but hasn't been able to get those extra couple tenths since he's caught up to the back and kind of got into the real dirty air. So as they head into turn 5 and then into 6 and 7 onto the back straight, this will be where we're really going to see if Steffi's willing to push the envelope here, or if he's going to be happy in second place. Really closes up on Thurman as they head into the brake section onto the back straight. This is going to be their 9th time around on the back straight. We'll see if this is the time that Jay Steffi makes a move for top spot in the race.
Jay Steffi getting real close. Compromises X a little bit, but long straightaway. They're 2/3 of the way down. They're just going through turn 9. The kink going down the downhill section. Jay Steffi not close enough to even show a nose there.
Yeah, he's going to hold on to second place for now, which is probably a wise move. Stay into that spot and hold on to it. But it looks like Felix Fleas, Jason Park still having a heck of a battle in behind, although Fleas much better through that last section, able to open up a couple tenths over Jason Park in 4th place. So Fleas relinquishing some of the pressure there now. Let's take a look back, a little further back. We got Jacob Fichtner trying to put some pressure on Andrew Trickett, our biggest mover in the top 10 right now. Andrew up 3 spots into 7th place in the gold and I believe that's gold and chrome colored Nino Kart-O-Mania car. He's being chased by Jacob Fichtner in the SRTE black. Don't be fooled by his green paint scheme. He is on the SRTE black team. They almost need to, I think, invert the colors on those, Rich, so we don't get confused which one's green and which one's black.
I say they're green, they're black, they're both colors. So if we get it wrong, it's not really our fault, guys. We're doing our best here. Jacob Fichtner having himself a good battle with Andrew Trickett. Andrew Trickett up 3 spots. In behind them, we've got Herbert Pineda and David Bush III. David Bush up 4 spots, but he's kind of stalled out right now in 10th place. David really not getting the race he's hoping for, and trying to make maximum gains he can to continue his championship battle here with our leader, Tyler Graff.
Yeah, no, I think we should probably give a little bit of a hats off to one Herbert Pineda. He was a driver, I think we mentioned it early on in the season, where he got that massive penalty for intentionally wrecking somebody in race 1. A lot of drivers, when that happens, they just throw their hands up. Oftentimes they leave the league, or they pout, or they don't come back and race. Herbert's come back every single race. He's been fighting through that 50-point penalty. He's got himself into a little bit of a points battle with some other drivers in the championship standing here a little farther back, but well done for him for sticking around and sticking with it. Much appreciated, and not really being a bit of a sad sack over the penalty. He accepted he did something wrong, took the penalty, and he's been working through it.
Yeah, it's you know, they're not racing for money here. It's all for glory. It's all for fun. It's all for the excitement. And Herb Pineda definitely showing us that's what it's all about by continuing on and charging hard. And we're going to pick it back up with Patrick Farrell. Patrick in 13th place right now overall, battling against Seb Gauthier, getting a great exit all over the back of Seb coming down the straightaway here. Let's see which way he's going to go. Is he going to go left? He's going to go right. Looks like he's going to go left. He's going to go up the inside into 10A, which leaving the outside of 10B. Does he have enough to get this job done? We'll find out just momentarily. Patrick Farrell up the inside, late braking, gets the move done, but over brakes himself, and that allows Seb Gauthier to go around the outside. Now we've got 3-4 cars all stacked up, and Patrick Farrell holding everything off, it looks like.
Yeah, 4-car battle here for 12th place, being led right now by Seb Gauthier. We're on board here with Luke Davis. That's Kevin Berquist, our AM leader, just ahead. So this is a couple AM cars battling it out right now. I see Berquist getting a little squirrely into turn 1, had to kind of collect it up and gather up. You heard where Davis had to back out of the throttle there, not to get in the right rear quarter panel of Berquist. Lets him live to see another day, frankly. If he would have kept pushing forward, it would have been the end of his day. But tight battle between these 4 cars here for 12th to 15th place. Sorry, 11th now to 15th place. Somebody ducked out there. Gauthier was in 12th, so they picked up a spot somewhere, Rich. I'm not sure what happened to one of our drivers. I believe it was Drew DeWeese popped into the pits. Gave them one position there.
Yeah, Felix Feliz went into the pits early, it looks like, Rob, and very surprising, but perhaps he felt he could get some better track position and some open air to battle, because Felix now down in 20th after his, it looks like, scheduled stop.
Oh, no doubt. We see Seb Gauthier trying to fight back on that McLaren of Patrick Farrell. The McLaren much higher top speed than the Porsches. Porsches are probably the slowest GT3 in a straight line this season. iRacing definitely hurt them a little bit this season. I've driven the Porsche a number of times, and you get on the long straights, and it really just doesn't have anything to offer. The McLaren, the Acura, or the Mustang. We don't have any Mustangs out here tonight. No Corvettes either, as well, with Zach Mosley not heading to the grid. So it's pretty much a Porsche, Acura, and a few Ferraris and a couple McLarens scattered around here.
Yeah, it's the Porsche is a great car to drive, a lot of fun, a lot of great handling, but as you said, it just doesn't have it when it comes to the end of those long straightaways. So it's Seb Gauthier doing a decent job. He's sitting in 12th where he started, trying to close back up with Patrick Farrell ahead, who's up 6 positions, but our big mover and shaker so far, David Bush III, Rob, he's up 7 positions now, up into 7th place.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier on, it's probably not the qualifying result that he wanted, but he's found the race pace right now to get him up 7 spots. But we got a moment here. Let's take another look at that Jeffries David Morse incident from earlier on here, as we saw Morse trying to make the move around the outside. Jeffries on the outside going into 10B. Morse just kind of comes over, tags the right quarter, and around he went.
Yeah,
so
I think he just got a couple of the tires out onto the grass, and that really compromised his ability to brake and make that turn, unfortunately, and caused Jeffries. But we're going to go back up to the front here, coming up into the twisting 2, 3, 4, 5 section of Road Atlanta. Jay Steffi maintaining 2nd place. He's about 4.5 tenths behind our pole sitter and race leader so far, Brett Thurman. These guys have got about almost a 2-second gap to 3rd place behind, and so far so good. We're about halfway through this race, and it looks like it's, pick one of them as long as they don't make any big mistakes here.
yeah, it looks like anything could happen here. But as I mentioned, it looked like Steffi, when he first caught Thurman, he was looking racy, trying to find a way around him. But last couple laps, looks like he's kind of just settled into 2nd place, potentially going into fuel save mode here, as I offered a potential strategy there earlier on once he caught Thurman. But we'll see as they head into 10A and B again, not really making a move to the outside, just kind of content to stay right now in behind Thurman, which is probably the best play. They got over 2 seconds over 3rd place Jason Park, who himself has a bit of a gap over Tyler Graff, and then Colin McKenzie in behind him. But as you mentioned, our biggest mover, David Bush III, up 7 spots into 7th place, got himself in the top 10. And even more notably, only a couple spots back of his championship competitor, Tyler Graff.
David is himself some clean air, nobody in front of him now. Now we will really see how his race pace is. He's got nobody to draft behind. It's just a matter of now putting in the laps and hitting his marks, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes, and see how far up he can advance.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's pop back here, have a look at Herbert Pineda as he's caught back up to Jacob Fichtner now. Fichtner currently in eighth place, excuse me. Pineda in ninth. Pineda would like to take that spot away. They've got Waldo Walden in tow. We saw Pineda was chasing down Walden earlier. He's been able to find a way around him. Next up, he's going to try and find a way about Jacob Fichtner. So Pineda had been down a spot, got himself back to ninth place where he qualified. Fichtner in eighth place where he's qualified. So a couple drivers kind of fell down a little bit. Rich got themselves back to where they started, and now trying to pursue David Bush III up ahead, who's now 1.8 seconds ahead of these two.
Yeah, the two Porsches both equal pace going down the straightaway. Herbert Pineda having a little advantage of the draft, but not enough to close up. Looks like they're going to tuck in and try it again, and next lap see what they can do. You know, like you said earlier, unless you make a mistake, there's really not many opportunities for passing outside of through 10A, 10B section.
No doubt. Just checking in on this battle that we were looking at earlier. Seb Gauthier ducked in, so he's trying to relieve some pressure from Luke Davis, Patrick Farrell, and I believe the other driver was Neil Alexander that was in that battle. So that four-pack of cars that were battling is kind of separated a little bit through pit cycle. Our leader still nose to tail here, still 2/10 separating amongst them. See Steffi a little better on the brakes, utilizing the top-notch brakes of that Acura. But Thurman able to get in the throttle a little quicker to head down the back straight, opens up that gap again. Steffi in tow. He's really tight this time. This may be a overtake opportunity if he were to want to attempt it, Rich. But as they've been kind of saying single file here, Jason Park starting to close them back down. He's got that gap under 2 seconds now. Steffi definitely showed the nose in there. I think he's starting to see in the relative that Park starting to close down that gap, realizing if they want to stay out front, they're going to need to work together. Oh, they're going to come in for pits here now. Our leader's in for fuel, Rich.
Yeah, it's they're coming a little bit early. It looks like Brett Thurman just trying to relieve a little bit of the pressure, and Jay Steffi falling right behind because he wants to stay in the draft of the leader. We're going to pick it up with our new leader, Jason Park. Jason Park, now he has some open track ahead of him. Let's see what Jason can do in these last lap or two he's going to have remaining before he's going to have to take his fuel service. Jason Park right now, overall, he's really up one position on the day, but I mean, he's sitting in a podium position, and first overall with Tyler Graff right behind him. It all remains to be seen what happens once the pit cycles through.
Yeah, it looked like pretty much all of our top 15, except for these two drivers, Jason Park and Tyler Graff, stayed out for one extra lap. So it'll be interesting to see that extra lap, if they were able to really have a push lap or if it was a fuel conserve lap, as Thurman and Steffi are back out on track. You see them heading into the S's. It looks like a quick pit stop for Brett Thurman. He was able to open up 1 second over Jay Steffi. Thurman with a 12.4 second time in his box to Steffi's 13.2. So that's showing why Steffi now is sitting about a second and a half back. But Jason Park, we suspect him in this time. There he is there. Tyler Graff, suspect him to come in too as well. So have to keep an eye on Brett Thurman and Jay Steffi, see how they cycle through here as they're heading down the back straight now towards 10A and 10B.
It looks like Brett opened up a little bit of a gap to Jay Steffi in the pit cycle with that almost 1 second less time in the stall itself, and 3/4 of a second in the whole pit lane. So here we go. We've got Jason Park. We've got Jason Park and Tyler Graff in the pits. We got Brett Thurman coming around at the start-finish line. Let's see how everybody cycles out now.
Yeah, there goes Thurman back up top into the lead. Park exiting his box now. Steffi going to get by him too as well, but he's going to come out right behind. Jason Park coming out right behind Jay Steffi. So excellent pit stop for Jason Park. He's got himself back into that battle for top spot in the podium. Well, definitely for second spot as he's opened up a gap over Tyler Graff. Let's take a quick look here at the pit stops times. Jason Park looks like our quickest stop of the field, 12.32. So 1 second, almost 1 second quicker than Jay Steffi. So that shows the the time game there and where it's come out on track. Hopefully he's got enough fuel where he can continue to push and push Jay Steffi forward here so they can try and chase down Brett Thurman. But Thurman loving what he's seeing right now. He's got Steffi out of his draft. Doesn't have to worry about towing him around at this point in time, but we've seen how quick those Acuras can be. And Porsche, as I mentioned, a little down on top speed, so Thurman really going to have to utilize the prowess through the quick corners and S's to maintain that gap up ahead of Steffi and Park.
Yeah, and while all that's going on, Kevin Bergquist, our amateur championship leader, he was 12 seconds in his stall, so really curious to see if he's got enough fuel. Right now he's not battling anybody, but that was a pretty quick pit stop, and even quicker than Jason Park. So maybe these guys know something the other drivers don't, or maybe they were a little more miserly on their fuel consumption in their first stint.
Yeah, Bergquist's a little farther back in the field. I think he might have been in draft for a lot of that, so he'll probably be able to save a little bit of fuel that way. So definitely that's worked out in his favor, as we see Seb Gauthier battling Luke Davis. Davis was behind Gauthier before Gauthier came in early on to try the undercut. Doesn't seem to have worked out for Gauthier as Davis gotten back around him, but they're going to battle for 13th place. Currently held by Luke Davis. Seb Gauthier, a little bit of an excursion at the top of the S's. Had to gather it up. That's going to cost him a couple tenths to Luke Davis up ahead. But that battle between Patrick Farrell and Waldo Walden has reignited through the pit cycles. As Waldo trying to hold off Farrell for 11th place. They got Pineda and Fichtner just up ahead of them. They could close down on that battle. Those two Porsches up ahead. We could have a 4-car back for P9.
It's always nice to see the pros and the amateurs battling against each other. Waldo Walden's had great pace all season. Patrick Farrell having a decent race tonight. Patrick Farrell up the back of Waldo Walden. Patrick going up the inside, real tight. Not getting a lot of room for Waldo, and they're going to go in hard into here. And a little bit bumping. It looks like Patrick Farrell may have got a little sideways there. Waldo Walden holding him off for now.
Yeah, a little bit of contact through there. Looked like Farrell realized he kind of dove it in a little bit. Bumped Walden out, kind of backed out of it, let Walden get back into that position, which is, if that's what he did, fair play, gentlemanly racing there. That's what you want to do if you kind of bump somebody off track and they're right there beside you. You don't really want to take that position by force for the most part, but well played by those two drivers. But Andrew Trickett under pressure here from Colin McKenzie. Trickett up 4 spots into 6th place. A strong run for him right now, but he's got some pressure from Colin McKenzie and our 2nd place driver in the Pro Championship, David Bush III. Bush lost the spot through the pit cycles there, dropped back down to 8th place. So we'll see if he's able to dispose of McKenzie and Trickett here to get himself a little closer to his championship competitor, Tyler Graff, who's currently sitting in 4th place and closing in on Jason Park up ahead.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Colin McKenzie here, but David Bush III has demonstrated all season long that as the race progresses, he seems to pick up the pace and make some gains. Colin McKenzie getting up nice and tight on the back of Andrew Trickett. Perhaps Colin's looking to take advantage here and get a great run down the pit straight and maybe make some moves into corner 1, the dangerous section to do so. Not quite close enough now. Looks like he's tucked in behind, and they're going to go around and do it once more.
Yeah, that's going to start off lap 21 for these drivers, Rich. We're getting towards the end of this race as we've got about 8.5 minutes to go. Still plenty of time for drivers to make a move, but if they're been holding anything back, now's the time to let it loose. Put that pressure on the driver ahead of you the best you can. Try and force a mistake from him, but definitely don't try to force him off the track. So actually our closest battle right now on track is this trio battling it out for 6 spots. So stay here right now, keeping a close eye on what's going on out front. Brett Thurman still holding 1.3 seconds over Jay Steffi, and Jason Park 0.8 back of Steffi. So kind of holding steady up front. We'll keep an eye on this battle here.
Yeah, they just came through that turn 6 and 7 section. That's my favorite section on the track. That turn 7 sets up the exit for this long straightaway. Looks like Andrew Trickett has got a decent jump, and looks like he's going to hold off Colin McKenzie once again as they go into 10A, 10B. Coming up to the final 2 corners of this circuit, and we're going to come around for lap 23 shortly. Colin McKenzie getting nice and tight, but not a whole lot of room to go around here.
Yeah, Andrew Trickett doing well, making that Porsche as wide as he can. Looks like McKenzie thought about faking a move to the inside into turn 1, thinks better of it That's going to compromise his exit, though. David Bush the third looks to the outside there. These are teammates. You know, they're definitely not going to want to wreck each other, but David Bush the third would probably love to get around Colin McKenzie to try and gain a couple extra points in his championship battle. But we've got another close battle shaping up. Oh, it was something happened to, I believe it was Farrell and Walden. They were battling closely, but something happened there amongst them, and that gap now is about a second. Looks like Walden went off track. Let's take a quick look here to see what happened amongst these two drivers.
And coming out through Tempe, Walden getting up onto the grass, and let Patrick Farrell dive up the inside and take advantage.
Yeah, so that's all it takes when you're battling that close. Drop a couple tires into the grass, and off you go. You got to breathe the throttle, and that driver behind you isn't going to wait to be asked twice to take that position away.
Yeah, we're continuing on here with Colin McKenzie. Colin really trying hard to get around Andrew Trickett and not make any mistakes and do it deliberately, because David Bush III waiting to pounce. David Bush almost taking advantage last lap when Colin showed a nose, but Colin thinking wiser this time, not quite close enough. Andrew Trickett doing a great job on our 23rd lap. We're 30 minutes into this 35-minute race. Andrew Trickett holding them off for now.
Yeah, he's doing well to hold off those two cars behind. And we mentioned that the Porsche, not the quickest in a straight line. The Lambo and the Acura are definitely much quicker. But if you can make that Porsche as wide as you possibly can and not allow the car behind you to get a real run to make a move, you can hold on to that position. But Trickett doing an excellent job of that right now. But it's like David Morris is showing, I thought, it's like something, it was just a blip on the timing and scoring. I thought he had went off there for a second, but looks like Jay Steffi feeling some pressure from Jason Park now. Those two Acuras linked up. That's allowed Brett Thurman to open that gap back up to 1.5 seconds. We'll see if they battle. Thurman would love to see these two Acuras battle in his rearview mirror so he can just continue to open up that gap. But right now, Steffi holding off Park. Park, I suspect, is going to try and make a move around as quick as he can. It's no time for fuel saving now with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, Park taking advantage of that great pit stop, and he closed that gap down on Jay Steffi. That allowed Brett Thurman to basically walk away from them at this stage. Jason Park, not much time left. Looks like maybe 3 or 4 laps left, and it's go time. You can't wait much longer. So if he's got the pace to get by Jay Steffi, he's going to have to do it soon.
Yeah, Steffi able to open up a little bit of a gap as they head through the S's. A little quicker through the top of the S's where Park had to let it breathe a little bit. But the two of them, as they're pushing, they're closing that gap on Thurman. So if they can continue to push together and not battle, they might be able to chase down Thurman up ahead. But we've got a lap car of Robert Jeffries not too far ahead. We'll see if that plays into any kind of strategy here, as they might catch him heading into turn 10A and B, Rich.
And Thurman, I think, is really hoping to either get by him before that or, follow him down the straightaway and make use of a draft, because really any opportunity to pull a little more time out of the guys behind him, Brett wants all of that. He'd really appreciate it if Jay Steffi and Jason Park would go back to battling, but right now they're just kind of lined up nose to tail. We're 32 minutes into this race, coming around for lap at 25. First, second, third going by the flag bearer, Barney.
Yeah, a gap between P1 and P2 under 1 second. So Steffi and Park really stretching the legs of those Acuras, pushing forward the best they can. They probably see that lap car up ahead and suspect that it could come into play, as they're going to catch him just at the exit of the S's. This might work out well for Thurman. He's probably going to get by before they head into turn 6 here. So let's see. Thurman exiting the S's now. Jeffrey's just ahead. Thurman's definitely going to get by, but I'm not sure if our second and third place cars are going to get by too as well. Jeffrey's going to pull off to the left, and he's going to let them by. Nicely done by him, not wanting to be a factor, but even that little bit of breathing has allowed Jay Steffi and Jason Park to close up on the back. So we're going to have a battle here, Rich, with just under 2 minutes to go here. Probably about this lap and maybe one more left in this race.
Yeah, Brett Thurman really, I think, was hoping that Robert Jeffries would let him by and make the other guys wait a corner, but he did not. So and we're less than half a second behind now. Brett Thurman doing a fabulous job this far, but now, for the first time in a long time, he's got some pressure, in the form of Jay Steffi and Jason Park. We're coming around. We've got, it looks like, 2 laps to go now. the penultimate lap. Barney's just sitting there, not doing much. We're 33 minutes yet. We've got 2 laps to go. Brett Thurman doing a great job. Guys behind him still half a second, but man, once we get down to that straightaway, this is where the battle, I think, is going to recommence.
Yeah, it might be close. I was having a look at the timing and scoring when they went. They were very close to extending this race one more lap, Rich. So we'll have to see next time by if they were able to do it or not. They were at about 1:20 when they crossed the line, so there may be one more lap here. But right now, all Jay Steffi's focusing on is trying to find away Brett Thurman as they head in through turn 6 into turn 7. Steffi looks to the inside. Thurman not allowing him any space to make that undercut there, but that's going to compromise both of their exits onto out of turn 7 onto the back straight. Jason Park may have the perfect spot here, getting double draft. See if he tries to make a move on both drivers into turn 10A.
Yeah, I think Jason, if he's got the top end, he's got to make a move now. But no, it looks like Jay Steffi covering him off. Jay Steffi not having enough any overlap to make any moves on Brett Thurman. Brett Thurman leading the charge around him for lap 26. Barney's waving the white flag. This is it, folks. Here goes the battle for the victor. Brett Thurman has led from the beginning of this race, continues to hold off Jay Steffi and Jason Park, but Jay Steffi making a little poke in the nose inside. This is going to be great, Rob.
Yeah, last lap battle, Thurman getting through the top of the S is much better than Steffi. Steffi had to fall back off a little bit, but he might be a nice run here as they get an exit from the S's down into turn 6. Those two Acuras trying to use everything they possibly have right now. Steffi in tow. It's going to be a matter of who gets the better exit onto the back straight here now. Thurman, nice tight exit there, opens up a bit of a gap, but we know those Acuras have a little more top end speed. This is it. This is the last chance for Jay Steffi to try and make a move around Brett Thurman to take that spot away as they head down the back straight towards 10A and B. Thurman already running a defensive line as far left as he possibly can and start to bleed himself back to the right here, but try and force Steffi all the way around the outside. Steffi, if he can get side by side, would have had the inside line in the next corner, but it looks like Brett Thurman, barring any mistake, is going to hold on to this one as our top 3 head to the line around to the flag. Barney got the checker flag out. Brett Thurman going to take round 7 at Road Atlanta. Jay Steffi and Jason Park going to come home 2nd and 3rd. Tyler Graff, our championship leader, in 4th place. Andrew Trickett able to hold off Colin McKenzie and David Bush III. Actually, it's like David Bush III and McKenzie in the pits. So something happened between the two of them. Let's quickly see if we can what happened between them as they were chasing Andrew Trickett. Oh, look like Bush III just got into the back of Trickett and collected up McKenzie. So unfortunate ending for our 2nd place driver in the pro side of things, Rich. But what a race we had here tonight. What a finish there between Brett Thurman, Jay Steffi, and the rest of our drivers out here.
Yeah, Brett Thurman, Jay Steffi, Jason Park, great battle. Was very impressed with the clean racing they had too. Nobody forced a move that wasn't there, and Brett Thurman, great jump at the start, great pit stop, and held on for victory.
Yeah, pole-to-pole win for Brett Thurman. He can't really ask for much more than that. That's definitely the way you want to bring it home, Rich. But let's take a quick look at our final results. As we see Brett Thurman, as we just mentioned, 2/10 over Jay Steffi at the line. Jason Park in 3rd. Tyler Graff settles for 4th. Felix Feliz in 5th. Andrew Trickett in 6th. Our top AM driver, Jacob Fichtner, in 7th. Herbert Pineda in 8th. Waldo Walden in 9th. Luke Davis rounding out the top 10.
And then we had Seb Gauthier, followed by Patrick Farrell. David Morse finishing 13th, followed by Ian Cabana. Then we had Neil Alexander, followed by our championship leader in the M division, Kevin Berquist. Christopher Rhines rounds out the finishers on the lead lap, followed by Robert Jeffries, 1 lap down.
Yeah, and then David Bush III in 19th, Colin McKenzie in 20th. We're going to find Drew DeWeese, Ross Sortino, Alex Hillman, and Mark Bray did not make the grid. So what a race, Rich. What a race is all I can say on that one. It came down to the last lap, and that's about all we could have asked as far as for wanting a race. But let's take a quick chat here. Looks like Rich is caught up with Jason Park, our third place finisher in the booth.
Hey
Jason,
guys.
congratulations. Congratulations on the podium. Wow, what a battle going down all the way to the very end. And man, you made some very
Yeah,
exciting racing, Jason.
yeah. Thanks, guys. I was I couldn't get a good exit down onto the back straight to give Jay a push there. I was chatting with him, trying to get him a push so that he can make a pass on Brett, but Brett did a good job holding us off.
Yeah, that was quite exciting, Jason. You had a much better pit stop than Jay. Allowed you to close that gap down. It,
I
we really thought it. We really thought it was going to be a battle with Brett and Jay, and all of a sudden you were there.
Yeah, I don't know if I definitely saved fuel, so I was able to go an extra lap, and that might have helped me in the stall a little bit. I was actually sputtering getting into my pit stall, so I was stressing a little bit there, but it worked out quite well for me.
Oh, awesome. Well, you must be thrilled. You made some great, exciting racing. There's nothing better than being in good, close battles, and it was all the way to the end. So, congratulations once again. Anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
To Riot Motorsports, this is our first double podium this season. So congrats to Jay as well, and like always, the wife. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Cheers.
So that was our third place finisher, Jason Park. Let's bring in our second place finisher, Jay Steffi. Jay, you gave it a go at the end. You're able to work together with Jason Park. You guys closed down on Brett, but looks like maybe another lap or two, you might have really had a chance to find a way around Brett. But otherwise, P2, well done. How'd your race go for you?
Oh, thank you very much. It was a riot. I had a lot of fun. Oh, no pun intended for the team name. It was a lot of fun. Brett was he put the car in exactly the right place every time I had a little bit of a move possible. So congrats to Brett. He drove a perfect race.
Yeah, it looks like the Acuras were really strong on the back straights, which may lead well. Next week we head to Le Mans. Have you put any laps in at Le Mans with the Acura? How are you feeling going into next week?
I had 0 laps at Le Mans, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, congrats on finishing P2. Anybody you want to shout out here, Jay, before we let you go?
I want to say thanks to my team, Riot Motorsports. Thanks to Throttle Freaks for putting on this league. Thank you to Pit Road, Rob and Richard for broadcasting. And thanks to my former teammates, SRTE. They made me a pretty good racer. So it's a tight-knit community and great group of guys all around.
Well done, Jay. Congrats on your P2. We hope to see you battling up front again next week. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Okay, and lastly, we'll bring our winner into the booth. And Richard Swindell, as you caught up with our winner, Brett Thurman.
Brett, this is going to be a regular occurrence. Congratulations.
Well, I sure hope so. What a night. I'm really happy. It's a good result.
You had a great start. I mean, you really jumped them at the start, and a great pit stop. The race go according to plan for you?
It sure did. I had to keep myself from not worrying about the fastest lap. It was just keep a pace and do the pace, do the plan, because all week I was doing full stints and I kept losing the car at the end of the stints. So I'm like, okay, I just need to find a pace that works the entire race.
Well, it looks like you found that tonight. Wow. Rob and I were thrilled calling the action, all the way down that final lap. Didn't know if you could hold him up, but you did it. I got a question for you, though. We've been noticing the bad Santa on the back bumper. What's that all about, Brett?
Well, you remember the little kid in the movie that makes the sandwiches for Bad Santa?
Yeah. Yeah.
His name was Thurman.
Ah,
So
well,
my buddies decided to give me the nickname, and it stuck. So I embraced it.
well, that's awesome because that's definitely one of my favorite movies. Congratulations. Anybody you'd like to thank for tonight's victory?
I'd like to thank my team and looking forward to seeing my daughter. She's home after 2 years, so I'm out of here, and I don't know how much practice I'm going to get this week, but great to have her home.
You go enjoy the family time. We'll see you at Le Mans.
See you guys. Thanks.
There you go, race winner Brett Thurman. Well done for him. Definitely happy by the sounds of it to have his daughter home as 2 years. I'm not sure why she was gone, if it was school or maybe she's in the military or what it is. But regardless, congrats, Brett Thurman, on your win here this evening. And we head to Le Mans next week, Rich. We've got the sprint race coming up next. Same cars, different drivers, 5 minutes longer, open setups. We're going to go get set up for them, and we'll be back in a few moments. Okay, we're back again. This time it's the Open Series, where our drivers have the luxury of making changes to their setup, and they're going to run 5 minutes longer. It's still myself, still Richard Swindells in the booth with me, the old goat next to me here in the booth. Uh, but we're uh, we're in qualifications for the Open Series. Similar conditions out here with 26, excuse me, degrees in the air Celsius. I should probably change that over to Fahrenheit for our American viewers to understand what's going on. And 28-degree track temp. So couldn't really ask for much better of a day to race, Rich.
Yeah, the fixed series showed us the track conditions are ideal, and we've got very similar conditions here. So I'd expect to see some great racing as we follow along with Matt Stadnick. Matt having himself a pretty good season thus far, and Matt being our championship leader in the amateur division, out sitting in 5th right now in qualifying.
Yeah, you mentioned the points. We should probably take a quick look at them while we have a moment, just to kind of see where our drivers are all shaping up. Let's look quickly here at the pro category, where Kevin Simpson, via a strong showing at Coda last week, where he warned us before it was a good track for him, and he brought the proof to the seminar here, Richard, with all his facts. Walked away with the lead last week in the championship. 188 points, up on Fernando Jaquez in second, 176 points. So only 12 points separating those two. Still plenty of room to make moves. Jim Feliz not too far back, another 8 points back of Jaquez for third. And then David Mendonça only 4 points back him. Emmett Lindquist 1 point back. So top 5 still fairly tightly bunched. Anything can really happen there. Josh Spears in 6th, Nandy Tavares in 7th place, Juan Malagon in 8th, Oliver Rodriguez, Santos in a 9th, and Gonzalo Cortez in 10th. And then we haven't seen Aiden Young at any of the races here so far.
And in the amateur standings, we've got Matt Stadnick with a 18-point lead over Corey Cercone, followed by Joey Costello, well back about 40 some odd points behind in 3rd. Then we have Luis Gruon, followed by Devin Brock, Adam Ostrich, Pete Majaya, Blake Ziti, Sean Carmody, and Nestor Santana round out the top 10.
Yeah, still fairly close amongst the field there. Stadnick and Cercone a bit of a lead up front, but still some room for play. But Rich, you have our championship standings handy in front of you there?
Yeah, thanks to the strong effort of Kevin Simpson last week, Solpic Precision Racing up top with 451 points and a 26-point lead over SRTE Orange. SRTE Orange sitting in 2nd. They are over top of CRT Chibao Racing Team with 366 points, followed by SRTE Green with 315. And in 5th, another 80 points back is Chibao Racing Team Amateur.
Yeah, still quite tight, close battles out there, as well as qualifying a little more spread out here amongst our drivers. Not quite tightly as grouped at the top right now. Fernando Jaquez, I believe he switched cars this week. We normally saw him in the Ferrari. Actually, looks like that whole team has switched, as Jaquez is in a Ferrari, Tavares, or sorry, in an Acura from his Ferrari. Tavares in a Acura too as well. So for the most part, it's just going to be Acuras, a couple Porsches, and a couple McLarens here, but it's going to be an Acura heavy field out here tonight in this race. So definitely some points are going to be taken away from Jaquez and Tavares. That's going to throw a little bit of a wrench in the championship standings. I believe it's 20 points they lose for switching cars. So let's take a quick look here again at how the Drivers' Championship looks at the pro category. As taken into account, Jaquez is going to lose 20 points there, and Tavares is going to lose 20 points. That's going to open up the gap between 1st and 2nd heading into this race.
Yeah, it's going to cost him in points, but as we've seen for the last several weeks, I mean, Jaquez had himself a great start weeks 1 and 2, but he just really hasn't had the pace, and I think it's probably a wise move on his part, and it was something he was considering last week and didn't.
Yeah, we've seen where the Ferraris they've been decent in the fixed setup series earlier on that we just watched earlier, but in the open series, it looks like they haven't really been all that competitive after the first couple rounds, where they really dominated the first 3 rounds of the series or the season. And then once we got into the high-paced tracks, they kind of fell by the wayside. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do here in the Acura. I say that, but Jaquez has got himself out front, so really right now we can see what he can do in the Acura when he's got a little more little more horsepower under the hood. Right now, holding off Kevin Simpson in second spot.
Yeah, I mean, Fernando is shown to be a very capable and very skilled driver. And he's, I think he's just didn't have the equipment under him the last few races to do what he needs to do. Follow along with Artie Mercedes. Artie pulling it into the pits, and it looks like he's not going to complete his last lap.
Yeah, it looks like most of our drivers, it's like they all kind of crossed the line just before the clock clicked over to the 15-minute mark. So Adam Ostrich was our last driver across the line here, Rich. So once the timing and scoring resets, we'll be able to take a look at our grid for this one. But again, same track, same cars. These drivers are allowed to alter their setups. They will still be required to make a fuel stop. I guess it's not required if you can fuel save enough here to make it around, but I don't think Road Atlanta is a track where you can really save enough fuel to make it around versus like a Long Beach where you can find those fuel savings to get around here. But there you go. Timing scoring has officially clicked over. Fernando Haka is going to take pole. Kevin Simpson in second place. David Mendonça in third. Anea Tavares is going to start in fourth. Joey Costello, our top and driver, in fifth. Blake Ziti in sixth. Matt Stadnick in seventh. Jim Feliz in eighth. Evan McKay in ninth. And rounding out the top 10, we find Gonzalo Cortez.
And then in 11th, we have Corey Cercone, followed by Luis Grullon. In 13th, Oliver Rodriguez, followed by Josh Spears. Then we have Artie Mercedes, followed by Pete Majaya, Adam Ostrich, Douglas Curry, around 17th and 18th. Then we have Fernando Torres, Ivan Bassano, running at our top 20. And then in 21st, not setting a time, is Emmett Lindquist.
Yeah, but interesting to see if he makes the grid. Lindquist, looks like Daniel Salmon is checked into the grid here too, the session 2 as well. We'll have to see if our fearless leader Zippy puts in any laps or not, Rich. His last time he attempted it didn't go so well, so we hope for the best for him this time. But 21 cars, possibly 22 cars on grid for this one. 1 or 2 cars less than we saw in the fixed race earlier, and but we did see that was just the right amount of cars on track to have a nice battle. So I suspect more of the same here with these little higher skilled drivers. We've got drivers ranged in the, for the most part, 2,500 to 4,500 iRating range, where our fixed series, it was capped at 3,000, if I believe, before the season started. Some of them have ran officials, earned a little more iRating, or was just above it, but we should see some still competitive racing out here between, as I mentioned, mostly Acuras and Porsches.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another fabulous race. Drivers, it looks like they're pretty much all gridded, just getting ready for the pace car to pull away. They're doing a full pace lap here at the shorter Road Atlanta, which is fine. We'll put up with it this time, Rob. We can make do with a full pace lap. The drivers are going to appreciate getting those tires warmed up. Like you said, we've got lots of Acuras, some Porsches, a couple of McLarens, but outside of the one BMW of Daniel Salmon, that's it. Not a whole lot of variety of cars making the start here. The Ferraris are all gone.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out here. It's really a Acura dominant field. So we know the Porsches struggle a little bit in a straight line. See how they work out in the open setup, where the drivers can alter the setups a little more to try and run maybe a little less wing, a little more trimmed out setup, Rich, a little less downforce, to see how they compete against the Acuras. But still, it looks like 8 of the top 10 cars are all Acuras to start this one off.
Yeah, that's true, but we saw the same thing in the fixed series, and Porsche did win it. So you don't necessarily have to have the highest top speed. The Porsche in the hands of a skilled driver such as David Mendonça, he might put the pressure on. We'll find out in about 40 minutes time.
Yeah, 40 minutes of this one, 5 minutes longer than the sprint race. So a little bit of extra time for our drivers to work on some strategy, try and develop a way to get around that car up ahead. As we're on board here with our leader, or pole sitter, Fernando Haka. He'll have Kevin Simpson to his outside, last week's winner. pair of Acuras will be starting on the pole, and then we have David Mendonça, our first non-Acura, starting in third. Mendonça, not the showing he wanted last week in at Coda, so he'll definitely trying to improve on that as he is in the thick of the battle in the championship standings for the pro side.
Yeah, David Mendonça sitting 4th overall right now and having a decent season. I think like everybody always wants a little more, but here we go, Rob. Coming down into 10A, 10B. Looks like Daniel Zippy Salmon did make the grid, so Daniel's going to be on board here, but we're going to follow along. Fernando Hacas leading us around, giving a little bit of a gap to the pace car so he can go when he wants, and Fernando still warming. It looks like he's getting ready to go. We've got Kevin Simpson coming up around the outside, and unlike Brett Thurman, it looks like Fernando's waiting a little bit. And now Fernando goes, and it looks like Fernando's got himself a great jump. He's got a lead over Kevin Simpson. We got cars going 2, 3 wide coming into turn 1. Not necessarily advisable, but so far everything's going through cleanly. Everybody driving hard. Fernando Hacas holding him off. Kevin Simpson falling behind. David Mendonça in 3rd.
Yeah, nice start there. As you mentioned, it looked like everybody got through. A couple drivers may have lost a spot, a couple drivers may have gained a spot, but for the most part, I don't see anybody being flagged as off track or crashing. So well done. Turn 1 at Road Atlanta can be a bit of a thrill ride, Rich. So nice to see all of our drivers get through there. Definitely some talented drivers in the field. Well done by them. But Fernando Hacas is currently holding on to his pole position. Kevin Simpson and David Mendonça, a pair of Solpec Racing teammates in behind. Looks like Mendonça has gone to the team gold and black colors this week. He's usually been running the white paint scheme, but he's kind of fallen in line. Team orders now get him in line there, Rich. Everybody running the same paint scheme. A couple Solpec drivers trying to chase down the CRT. Chabao, driver of Hacas, up ahead. But Hacas has his teammate Tavares in 4th place. So a couple cars from each one of our championship contenders in the team side here battling up top. It'd be interesting to see if any kind of team strategy plays out here, Rich, early on.
Yeah, and then right behind them, we've got a bunch of the SRTE cars. So looks like we've got teammates, all battling up and down. Fernando Hacas looking like he's very happy with his choice of switching manufacturers, going to the Acura from the Ferrari, because he is up top right now as we watch Kevin Simpson taking a lot of curb, but maintaining 2nd place over David Mendonça.
Yeah, we've got some cheering in the chat for the CRT Chapao team, cheering on our Dominican contingent. So they're doing well out there right now in first and 4th, and then their teammate Oliver Rodriguez Santos in 12th. The rest of the team a little farther back in the field, but let's check back a little farther as we got a SRTE army here, starting with Blake Seedy, Joey Costello, Jim Flees, Matt Stadnick, and then I believe Evan McKay, the final car in that pack. So we got 5 SRTE cars here, Rich, in a row here. Looks like a bunch of Team Orange cars, and then Evan McKay, the lone SRTE green car at the back of that pack.
Yeah, that green car, thank goodness it isn't SRT black, because we'd get really confused. But in behind Evan McKay, we've got Gonzalo Cortez, but another SRT car, Corey Sircone, in behind them.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong showing for the SRTE team here in the Open Series. They've been battling, I believe, actually, where were they sitting in the team championships again, Rick? I think they've moved up into 2nd place, I believe it is, or they dropped down to 3rd. Can't remember what the results were after last week.
The SRTE Orange are well into 2nd place. The SRTE Green are sitting in 4th, so they're having themselves a pretty good season overall.
That's right, strong showing for them. We've got a couple teammates here on the CRT Chibao. I believe that's the AM rookie team they're calling them. Artie Mercedes and Douglas Corey currently sitting in 15th and 16th. They got Pete Magia not too far behind Pete on the PLR Simsport team. He's leading around Adam Ostrich, Fernando Torres, and then Ivan Bassano and Daniel Salmon. Looks like Emmett Lindquist didn't make it to the grid, so unfortunate for him. He had got himself up into P5 in the Drivers' Championship, so we'll see if we see him back again next week.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're going down the back straightaway, following along with that big train of orange cars, followed by a little green car. Yeah, it looks like Jim Felice just sticking his nose out a little bit, or actually not Jim Felice, driver behind Jim Felice, but we're going to go back up front. Fernando Hacas still maintaining a lead. Looks like he's got about 6/10 over Kevin Simpson. Kevin looking to close down that gap. Fernando looking to increase it. Fernando looks like he's found the magic once again, making that switch to the Acura.
Yeah, doing well so far. Opened up 7/10 over Simpson in second place there. Mendonça another 6/10 back of Simpson. So starting to finding safe kind of space here, safe pace for our three drivers up front. Nene Tavares another 7/10 back of Mendonça. So it's not till we really get back into our SRTE pack where the cars are a little closer bunched together, but I don't suspect we'll see much battling amongst them. They'll kind of try and work together for the most part, unless they feel one of the drivers don't quite have enough pace to lead this pack around. But right now, Blake Seedy with his ZD box in hand in his profile picture there, leading away the SRTE Army here, currently occupying 5th all the way down into 9th.
Yeah, Blake, our driver of the day last week, and well, a lot of it had to do with that picture, Blake, but and your driving skills, of course, as well. Blake having himself a pretty good season thus far, sitting in 5th and pushing hard and keeping a lead over Joey Costello, Jim Feliz, and Matt Stadnik behind.
Yeah, well done by Blake last week. At the tail end of this SRTE kind of freight train, we got Oliver Rodriguez Santos. He's trying to catch up to Corey Sircone up ahead. Sircone, our second place driver in the AM championship, so he would probably love to get around a few of his SRTE teammates up ahead to gain himself some points as he's trying to chase down Matt Stadnik, who's currently leading the AM side of things here, Rich.
Yeah, Corey's having himself a really good season, but we're going to pick it back up with Oliver Rodriguez Santos. Oliver, you know, he's just got a bunch of cars up ahead of him, and look at all those orange cars, Rob. That's just craziness. So far, everybody's just kind of settled in. We got 5 minutes more racing here tonight than we had in our earlier race. Drivers got a little 5 more minutes, which is about 3 more laps around here to 3 to 4 more laps around here to try and make some moves. And right now, it's just a little bit of a draft train, and nobody really going anywhere.
Yeah, it's as I mentioned in the early on broadcast of the Fixed series, there's not really a whole lot of overtaking opportunities here at Road Atlanta. You've got possibly into turn 1, turn 10, A and B is definitely your most potent overtaking opportunity. But other than that, you really got to try and force a mistake from the driver up ahead. But speaking of that, Kevin Simpson, the last lap, was able to close in on Fernando Jaquez up ahead. Simpson ran a 1:18.35 to Jaquez's 1:18.56. So a little bit of quicker pace there for Simpson. We'll see if he can continue pushing forward, close that gap on Jaquez up ahead. But again, these are a couple of our drivers up at the top of the pro standings in the championship drivers side of it. Actually, all 4 of these drivers that are in P1, 2, 3, and 4, all in the top 5. So it'd be interesting to see how they battle here, Rich.
Yeah, and here we come through the my favorite part of the section at turn 6 and 7, and that exit out of 7 really dictates whether you're going to have any opportunities at all at the end of this long straightaway going to 10A, 10B. Fernando looked like he had a decent exit. Kevin Simpson about 4.5 tenths behind. That's a little far back. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make any moves at the end of this lap, but definitely allowing him to close back up a little bit more.
Yeah, Simpson really starting to push, but looks like Mendonça is starting to fall into the grass of Nene Tavares there. We'll see if Tavares could find a way around Mendonça. Mendonça, our lone Porsche right now in the top 5, kind of holding the flag for the German brand as they fight off the American-Japanese brand here in the Acura.
Yeah, David Mendonça has had himself a decent series thus far. Not quite, I don't think he had the results he was looking for last week, but battling hard here, trying to hold off to Nene Tavares. Nene back up. Nene had like Fernando, had himself a great opening race, and now with that move to Acura, let's see if his good fortunes continue on.
Yeah, they're probably wishing they would have switched earlier on when they initially thought about it, Rich, but can't cry over spilled milk now. They just have to try to make the best of a bad situation here, and right now they're doing that in spades with holding down 1st and 4th. But David Mendonça looks like he's started to relieve some of the pressure from Nene Tavares. See if they can work together, try and close back in on that battle up at top. That's going to gotten a little stagnant now. Simpson closed the gap down to 4/10, but he's kind of stalled out there because he's got into the real dirty air off the front of our leader, Fernando Jaques.
Yeah, Fernando Jaques basically it took that green flag and continues on, but we're going to pick it back up. Adam Ostrich, 18th place right now. Adam following over the back of Pete Majaya. These two drivers are both down one position on the day, losing out to Douglas Curry ahead of them, but battling hard and looking to advance a little bit further where they are now.
And it looks like Ostrich really closing in on the back of Majaya up ahead. Excellent turn 12 and turn 1 for Ostrich as they head into the top of the S's. Really closes up that gap on the back of Majaya up ahead. We'll see if Ostrich can continue putting the pressure on them as they head down through the twisty section here. I mentioned in the fixed race, the Acuras aren't exactly all that happy in the S's, the elevated curbs. It's very easy to bottom out the Acura through there, and that's going to send you into a real flat plane spin if that happens. So all of our Acura drivers really need to be very wary of using up too much of the curves, where the Porsches just, they eat curbs for breakfast, Rich. They kind of hammer over the curb all you want. They'll kind of ask for some more. So we're just going to see if a little bit of strategy here between Ostrich, if he can kind of throw it into those sections a little harder, trying to force a mistake from Mejia up ahead.
Yeah, and Ostrich getting up nice and close. He's poking the nose out here, but wisely tucking back in. Didn't have enough pace to try any attempts there, and Adam Ostrich looking to follow around. You say that about the Acura, but whoa, Adam Ostrich going up the inside, tucking back up again. Adam Ostrich really closing that gap down. Is he going to try and throw it down the inside on turn 1, or is he just going to wisely hold off? It looks like he's just going to wait until a better opportunity presents itself now.
Yeah, he's definitely firmly putting some pressure on Pete Mejia right now. So be a matter of trying to force a mistake out of that Acura driver up ahead. But right now, Mejia doing well to hold off the pressure from Ostrich. Ostrich trying to find a way to push the envelope a little harder, force a mistake. But right now, Mejia doing well and very solidly keeping that Acura just ahead. But just behind them, we got a battle going on between Ivan Bassano, Fernando Torres, and Daniel Salmon. This is a battle for 19th place. Right now, Torres holding down that spot. He's got Bassano in between he and Salmon.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes to show the strength of this league here. These guys are battling hard still. We're down near the back of the field, and great close racing. Fernando Torres holding off Ivan Bassano, Daniel Salmon at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. We've got even from first all the way to 21st place is only separated by about 20 seconds. So they may be a little farther back in the pack, but really they're not all that out of it here, Rich. As we see just up ahead, looks like Adam Ostrich and Pete Mejia throwing up some dirt, using up all the track width and then some through turn 11 and 12. That's going to drop Ostrich back off the tailpipe of Mejia a little bit. We'll see if he's able to close that back up, but looks like up ahead, Tavares closing back in on Mendonça, starting to put a little pressure on the back of Mendonça. We'll see if he goes for a move. As still stagnant up top, Jaques still leading around Simpson. Simpson falling back to about 6/10 now back of Jaques. Jaques opened that gap back up. Simpson was able to close it about 5 minutes ago, but Jaques found a little bit more pace, opened that gap back up. And then we've got our SRTE Army here, where it looks like they've lost Evan McKay off the back of this pack. Blake Seedy still leading around Joey Costello, Jim Flees, and Matt Stanek, with McKay kind of being the buffer here. Looks like he might be dropping back to possibly pick up Rodriguez, Santos, and Cortez, see if they can work together and charge back up to that SRTE Army up ahead.
Yeah, all those orange cars in a row. As I say, Rob, if they didn't want you to use the dirt on the exit of those corners, they wouldn't have put dirt there. So we see quite often a bunch of our drivers, throwing some dust in the windscreen of the car behind them. Just give them a little bit of a distraction. Not sure if it's deliberate or if they're just making a full use of the track limits when they can.
Yeah, that's right. If they put it there, use it, right? But sometimes you don't want to use too much of that dirt. You lose the back end. But it looks like Josh Spears starting to close in on Cortez up ahead. He might be towing along Gruillon and Mercedes in behind as they're starting to close in on the battle for 10th place.
Yeah, we're 11 laps in here. We've still got 21 drivers all on the lead lap. No incidents. A couple of people just mildly off track. Great clean racing thus far, Rob. And wow, we're going to pick it back up. Adam Ostrich and Pete Majaya. Adam Ostrich, real tight. He's looking for a great exit out of turn 7 here. Looked up the inside. That may cost him on the exit. Let's see what happens here. Adam Ostrich, surprisingly, still getting a good exit, even though giving that little look. Does he have enough here to overtake Pete Majaya? Looks like he may run out of space with a Porsche, but we will find out as just a couple more seconds as they continue down this back straightaway, going through a little bit of kink on turn 9. Adam Ostrich looking to the outside. Pete Majaya covering him off on the inside. Nothing happening right now.
Oh, Fernando Torres with a massive send there through 10A. What a move. Gets himself up into 18th place, Rich. That was...
I didn't even see that coming. Wow.
That was called taking advantage of an opportunity. Ivan Basono now looking to the inside of Ostrich. So Ostrich with the mistake into 10A and B. It's just cost him 2 spots there. Torres and Basono are going to take it away. Ostrich trying to fight back on the inside. But right now, Daniel Sippy Zaman sitting in the catbird seat watching this go on right ahead of him. Unable to take advantage of Ostrich too as well, but what a move by Fernando Torres.
That was the move of the day. That was impressive, and that just goes to show you, if you try to make a move and it doesn't work and you're in a tight battle with a bunch of cars, you're going to go backwards, not forwards, and unfortunately that's what happened there. Fernando Torres sitting 18th. I'm Bassano behind in 19th. Adam Ostrich, the big loser there, going down to 20th, and look at this great move by Fernando Torres. Adam Ostrich having to crank on that wheel hard, and Fernando saw that and said, hey, I'll take that spot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. That's I think that might have earned Fernando Torres our driver of the day moment for this point in time, but well done for him.
Oh, this is fabulous, Rob. We got 4 cars still here, all tight, and 1 car just ahead of them, and I'm loving this. They finally line them up nose to tail as we're going through the S's here. Going through into that difficult turn 5 with a big exit. You really got to make sure you got yourself covered off there.
Yeah, this battle is going to continue on for a little bit, I suspect, but Torres able to open up a gap now over he and Ostrich. Ostrich, he was doing well to put some pressure on Pete Majia, but once he got past there by Torres and who else was the other? Basono's come in for his pit service now early on. He's going to try and get out of the middle of that battle. He's going to pop into the pits, but once Ostrich got passed by Basono and Torres, we really saw his pace drop off. So we'll see if he's able to gather himself back up and start to charge forward again on Torres and Majia.
Yeah, I think we've all had that happen to us. Take a lap or two, get your bearings, get back in the groove, because once you get out of the groove, it's a little hard to get back in there. But we see Adam Ostrich now getting back up, fighting hard, getting a great exit, and Adam Ostrich, Fernando Torres side by side, following Pete Majia, and pushing to the inside, and it looks like Adam Ostrich has covered him off, and Fernando Torres nowhere to go. Can he hold him through this tight turn 10B section? And he does this time.
Yeah, a little argy-bargy through there, but both drivers keeping it on track. But we'll see if Torres is able to find a way back around. If we saw them make that massive move into 10A, and Ostrich pays him back here a couple laps later, able to reverse the roles, make that move around Torres, get himself back up into 18th place. Now Torres has Daniel Salmon lurking in behind. Salmon trying to put some pressure on the back of Torres here to try and find a way around him.
Yeah, and Daniel Salmon a little bit handicapped here, driving the BMW, the only BMW in the field, and doing a great job this far, and all over the back of Fernando Torres, and good job so far from Zippy, our boss. So we'll have to give him props there, Rob.
Well, we don't have to, but he's working hard out there.
Picking back up with the SRTE Orange Freight Train, Blake Ziti sitting in 5th, still maintaining a gap over Joey Costello, Jim Feliz, and Matt Stadnick in behind. These cars are spread out just a little bit from what we saw earlier, but still basically maintaining the positions we saw earlier. Blake Ziti up 1 position on the day, Joey Costello down 1, and Jim Feliz, they kind of just flip-flopped 1 position between them, but overall not making a whole lot of moves. Looks like they've all got very similar pace.
Yeah, I think they're looks like for the most part they're kind of content just kind of staying in line, but looks like connection issue there briefly for Oliver Rodriguez Santos. So hopefully that clears up for him. He's trying to chase down Evan McKay up ahead. McKay currently in ninth spot. One of our few drivers that's still running in the position they qualified. The other two is our leaders, Fernando Jaquez and Kevin Simpson, as they're leading the way around. Looks like Tavares has gotten around Mendonça. I had to restart timing and scoring, so unfortunately we can't take a look at that move there, but I can let you know that Tavares has gotten around Mendonça. This could have been a strategy play, though. We've seen David Mendonça go where for a fuel strategy, Rich, in earlier races. So we'll see if he stays within draft of Tavares, try and save some fuel where he can leapfrog him back through pit cycle. But right now, the CRT drivers in 2 out of the 3 spots on the podium.
Yeah, the CRT Jabot team, racing team, having a fantastic effort thus far. We're halfway through this 40-minute feature, and Fernando Jaquez continuing to maintain a gap. He's now got about a 1.6 second gap over Kevin Simpson in second. Nanny Tavares, he's about 3.5 seconds behind him. So quite the spacing going on now in the podium positions. Dave Mendonça, though, fighting hard. He's only a half a second back of Nanny Tavares, looking to not let Nanny get too far ahead.
Yeah, it looks like we've had a couple of our SRTE cars come in. Joey Costello and Corey Sircone in for their service. Sircone up on the jack stand. So I wonder if he's taking tires. Lengthy pit stop here for Corey Sircone. That may be a massive mistake here by him forgetting to uncheck his tires, but that's going to break up our SRTE train that we have. So we have ZD, Feliz, Stadnik, and a little bit out of the draft there, Evan McKay, although it looks like Matt Stadnik falling back a little bit off of Feliz and ZD. That could be a strategy play to fall back in with Evan McKay so you can kind of pick his teammate up out of that battle between he, Rodriguez Santos, and Cortez.
Yeah, Corey Sircone spending 20 seconds in the stall compared to 12 seconds for Joey Costello. So I don't know if 20 seconds is enough to get all 4 tires. Maybe he just got 2 done and it managed to uncheck the other 2. I'm not sure, but we're going to pick it back up here. Oliver Rodriguez Santos having a nice battle here with Evan McKay ahead, Gonzalo Cortez behind. These cars are nice close battle as we're going through here through the twisty section, coming up to the difficult turn 5. That is the part of the track I hate and love. It's do or die. This is where if there's going to be damage, it's going to happen, and all the drivers getting through cleanly.
Yeah, you would think the turn 1 would be the most treacherous, but I think you're right there, Rich. Turn 5, I guess technically it's the bottom of the S's, although you go from the top down into the valley and then back up again. It's where it seems to be, if you're going to wreck in the S's, that generally tends to be where it is. If you can make it through the first half of the S's, you're usually fairly safe until you get to the exit. But Evan McKay doing well to hold off Rodriguez Santos and Gonzalo Cortez in behind here as these cars battle it out for 8th spot. But we have a look a little farther back here. Luis Grullon making a move on the inside of Josh Spears. That's a battle for 11th and 12th. It's like Spears going to hold on to that position. Grullon had the inside line, which turns over to the outside line. But Spears is going to duck into the pits, trying to relieve some of that pressure. See if he can catch a bit of a break on the fuel strategy to put Luis Grullon a little farther behind. So some of our drivers starting to come in here, Rich, a little earlier than we'd normally see. A little bit of strategy play out, going for the undercut, trying to leapfrog drivers that way.
Yeah, the Road Atlanta, I mean, when they're battling this close and there's not that many passing opportunities, these drivers are really just looking for some clean track and a little bit of, it looks like we got Adam Ostrich gone around. We'll have to take a look back and see how that happened a little bit later, but Adam Ostrich moving backwards quickly, car coming right around sideways.
Looks like Ostrich was hard on the inside of Pete Magia. Just loses the back end into turn 1. Spins around. Torres doing well not to collect himself up in that. And Daniel Samming hits by just on the inside, almost clipped by Ostrich. So well done by all our drivers to avoid that incident there.
Yeah, that was some great driving by all involved. No harm, no foul, nobody touched. And Adam Ostrich back underway. We're going to pick it back up. We've got Oliver Rodriguez Santos. Oliver following closely behind Evan McKay. Gonzalo Cortez in behind him. His 3-car battle has been going on for a little bit now, Rob, and interested to see what happens as the race progresses. We're 23 minutes, almost 24 minutes into this 40-minute feature.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Rodriguez Santos try and make a move or a strong play on the back of Evan McKay. So it could be just a fuel strategy here, staying tucked in behind. But looks like McKay goes a little wide at the top of the S's. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but able to hold off Santos and Cortez in behind as we've got a few more drivers into the pits. Looks like Artie Mercedes, Douglas Coury in to receive solid 1.6 seconds over Kevin Simpson in second place, and then another 4 seconds back to Tavares. But David Mendonça is still in the draft of Tavares, so I'm starting to firmly believe this is a fuel strategy play where he let Tavares go by. He's going to try and stay in the draft to leapfrog him. We'll have to see when they pop into the pits. It could be any moment now, but you see the wiper going on the front of David Mendonça, trying to clear off a little bit of the rubber being kicked up by Nene Tavares up ahead in his Acura.
Well, it might be rubber. It might be a little bit of that dirt that we were talking about earlier. But either way, Dave Mendonça, as you said, he's tucked in. He's 6/10 behind. He's not really losing anything. He's not gaining anything with that Porsche not having the top end. You're right. It might be a pit strategy, fuel savings kind of drive. We'll find out as the race progresses with only 15 minutes left, and Oliver Rodriguez Santos now coming into the pits.
Yeah, so we'll see. I thought maybe Rodriguez Santos was going for fuel strategy here, staying in behind Evan McKay. So McKay and Cortez going to stay out for another lap. We'll see how Santos cycles back through when he gets back on track. If he was able to save enough fuel in behind Evan McKay to utilize the undercut and get out ahead of him. But we're nearing the back half of the race here, Rich. Just under 15 minutes to go on this one. So our driver's getting low on the fuel consumption charts here. They're going to be looking at a fuel gauge that's going to be telling them to pop into the pits anytime here. So I suspect we should start to see the rest of the field starting to cycle through here very shortly.
Yeah, I would think so. And Oliver Rodriguez Santos, very, very short time in his pit stall. So it will be interesting to see how that all works out. We're going to pick it back up. Blake Ziti with Jim Feliz all over the back of him, but Jim poking the nose out, but Jim content to tuck it right back in right now. These two SRTE teammates just kind of following around each other. It looks like Blake Ziti is coming in for his service now.
Yeah, Ziti's going to pop into the pits. Looks like Feliz going to go around for another lap. He stayed behind Ziti for, I believe, the majority of the race up until this point. So definitely some fuel saving there for Feliz. We'll see how it works out for him. He's definitely going to be able to leapfrog Blake Ziti and possibly another couple drivers or so with the amount of fuel he would have been able to save in behind Ziti. Feliz firmly supplanted in the Pro Championship battle here, Rich. So this could be a wise move for Jim Feliz.
Yeah, Jim's sitting at third overall right now, and not too far behind second place Fernando Haques and Kevin Simpson. So with those drivers up a little bit further up ahead of him, really wanting to maximize his efforts tonight.
And so we pick back up with Oliver Rodriguez Santos. Looks like Evan McKay was able to get in and out of the pits and stay ahead of Rodriguez Santos. So Santos not able to save enough fuel to make that leapfrog over McKay up ahead. Let's take a quick look. You had mentioned Santos with a really quick pit stop. 11.55 to McKay's 11.85. So McKay did what he needed to do. Not the quickest stop compared to Santos, but he was quick enough to stay out ahead of him.
Yeah, and then when we say that, Fernando Haques, 13.1 seconds in the stall. That's rather slow compared to the other drivers. So let's see how that turns out when everybody cycles through and see if Fernando still maintains his lead.
Yeah, Haka is back on track. Second place, Kevin Simpson in for his service now. So we'll see if Simpson's able to leapfrog or get a little closer to Haka as they cycle through. Haka is into turn 12. He's going to come around and finish up lap 22. Simpson's still in his stall at this point in time, although he has one of the frontmost stalls. Looks like Simpson exiting pit road here now. He's coming around a pit exit. It's going to be tight. Haka is going to hop back by him, but Simpson definitely going to be in the draft of Haka's now. We're going to have a battle with the last 11 minutes to go in this one, Rich.
Yeah. Kevin Simpson making up 1.65 seconds through the pit strategy and really closing up that gap. This is going to make for a interesting finish. A little tighter than I think Fernando Haques wanted it to be, but Fernando, first time in the Acura, perhaps not knowing quite how well or how much fuel the Acura was going to use as compared to the Ferrari he's used to.
Yeah, Hackes went into the pits service with a 1.65 gap over Simpson. He's going to come out with 7/10 now between the two of them. But David Mendonça, who was able to stay out for another lap into the pits here now. So we'll see if his fuel saving behind Danny Tavares has allowed him to close into this top battle. He and Jim Feliz in for service now, but our leaders heading into turn 10 A and B. We'll see where they cycle through. Mendonça still in his stall. I suspect he's just coming to a stop here now. There he is. So suspect him to be there for about 10 seconds or so. Our leaders heading into the final set of corners here, Rich. So it'll be interesting to see how they the cycles through. Actually, there they go into turn 1. Mendonça is still in his stall, so he's going to be at least in 3rd place. Tavares now coming around into turn 1. Mendonça is still in his stall. He's dropping well down the field. This is not working out the way David Mendonça would have had planned.
I'm guessing he might have got himself a speeding violation or an unsafe entry into pit lane, because he's been in the stall now for 35 seconds and he's still waiting. It looks like David Mendonça's race is over, unfortunately, Rob.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be some sort of penalty there, Rich. You're probably correct on the speeding into pit road. I believe that's a 40-second penalty. So we'll see there now. 50 seconds into his box, 10 and a half seconds service would that would add up exactly with the 40-second stop and hold for speeding. So unfortunate for David Mendonça.
Yeah, that relieves the pressure for Nanny Tavares, though. Nanny now he's got a firm grip on 3rd place. It's really not much going on for him. He's just kind of got to bide his time for the next 10 minutes, and he'll be on the podium. We're going to pick it back up, though. Kevin Simpson, 6.5 tenths behind Fernando Jaques. This is the battle for the lead, and it's been the battle for the lead the whole race long. Kevin Simpson, our race winner last week, looking for a repeat this week, but Fernando Jaques looking to get back on top after a few disappointing weeks in the Ferrari.
Yeah, Simpson coming out of that pit cycle and a bit of it like a shark smelling blood in the water here. He's really starting to put the pressure on to try and chase down Simpson up ahead. Last week's winner would like to go back to back for sure here and put 2 of the American tracks on his win list. But Hake is going to have a say in that matter as he's still out front. That gap down now to about half a second between the two of them, 5/10. As they head into turn 5 and 6, Simpson going to close that gap down a little bit too. Let's see who gets a better run out of turn 7 onto the back straight. Hake is using up a little more of the curbing than he would have wanted on the outside. That's going to compromise his exit a little bit. We'll see if Simpson gets enough for a run to move into 10A and B as he's got that gap down to 3/10 now. The draft is strong on that back straight. Not close enough to make a move though into 10A and B with about 8 minutes to go in this one, Rich. Still plenty of time. That's another 5 laps or so. Plenty of time for Simpson to make a move and plenty of time for Hawkins to hold him off.
Yeah, these two have been having a great battle. Actually, Acura is taking top spots right now. 1st through 6, all Acuras until we see the Porsche of Matt Stadnik in 7th. And then we've got 3 more Porsches. So 9 out of the top 10 cars, Acuras tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely the car you want to have here tonight, I guess, Rich, in the Open Series by the looks of it. Actually, they've filled up our top 15 with only 3 other non-Acuras in the top 15, so definitely a strong showing here. But a little further back, looks like Gonzalo Cortez up 2 spots. He's got Matt Stadnik and Joey Costello up ahead. Costello and Stadnik, one of our earlier SRT drivers, came in for the pits. So they've got themselves up into 6th and 7th. Costello actually down 1 spot from where he qualified. Ziti took that spot away as the top AM driver right now in 5th.
Yeah, we've got Blake Ziti, Joey Costello, and Matt Stadnik, all 5, 6, 7 in the field. Our top amateur drivers, 1, 2, 3 in their division.
Yeah, strong showing by Team SRTE again. As you mentioned earlier on, our teams battle really tight, but take a look back here at the top spots. That gap kind of solidifying itself here between Simpson and Hawkins. Hawkins has got his tires back up to temp here, showing some strong pace. Holding steady, but 6/10. Kind of fluctuates a 10th or 2 here or there, but Simpson, I think, might have overheated his tires, really pushing there to try and close that gap. I have to back off a little bit, try and cool them off, and work up for another charge forward.
Yeah, he had that great pit stop, allowing him to really close down, and really try to take advantage, but right now he's settled in, and Daniel Zippy Salmon up 3 positions in 19th. Daniel trying to close in on Adam Ostrich, who had that unfortunate little bit of a power slide through corner 1 earlier, falling back a bunch of positions. Daniel up 3, Adam down 1 on the day. Daniel doing a good job driving that BMW.
Yeah, it's a car that hasn't been real competitive. Well, I should say real competitive. At certain tracks, it's competitive. It definitely is a car, Rich, that you can hop the curbs and jump the curbs with, which is, I suspect, probably why he jumped into that car this evening and taking a run at it. So doesn't really have to worry about hopping around on the curbs. But looks like Joey Costello here, now that they've caught up to the back of Blake Seedy, thinking about making a move on the inside. That's a spot for Costello, going to move him ahead. Or sorry, I'm getting these guys all mixed up, these SRTE guys. That's Costello moving up ahead of Cortez. Cortez trying to fight back on the outside, but Cortez would love to split up these SRTE cars.
Yeah, the Matt Stadnik, Joey Costello, Cortez, all battling hard, and Evan McKay right in there. And it looks like Cortez is kind of a little bit of a SRTE sandwich right now.
Yeah, he's the meat in the sandwich, as you would say, Rich. But Evan McKay got back up to his teammates here. We had saw him fall back off that SRTE pack into the clutches of Rodriguez Santos and Gonzalo Cortez. Cortez has been able to get around McKay, but McKay's used them to catch back up to his teammates. So we'll see if they can play some strategy here to get him back ahead of Cortez. But Cortez is doing the best he can to split up that SRTE train even farther ahead a little more.
Yeah, that's a really tough spot to be in for Cortez, but he's doing a fabulous job maintaining his position. Like I said, up 2 positions on the day, kind of stuck in between four cars that aren't his teammates, and his teammates nowhere around, and fighting hard still nonetheless, not letting Evan McKay advance on him. And continuing on up here, Matt Stadnik is the one leading this train. He's almost 3 seconds behind his teammate Blake Seedy, so it's going to be a battle here between Matt Stadnik, Joey Costello, Gonzalo Cortez, and Evan McKay. Oliver Rodriguez is also kind of in that fight now, it looks like.
Yeah, Rodriguez Santos just on the tail end there, just behind Evan McKay. We saw that Rodriguez Santos unable to use the fuel savings to leapfrog Evan McKay, so he's going to try and do it on track. McKay's going to go wide out of turn 5 at the top of the S's, and kind of mentioned what I did earlier, or sorry, what I mentioned earlier, flat bottoming the Acura out of that curb, and he had to really gather it up. Rodriguez Santos unfortunately had to woe up to as well, not knowing where McKay was going to come back on track. Didn't really want to go push and go side by side with him, Rich, and take the chance at McKay coming back on track and just clearing him right off.
Yeah, these guys, you really need that good exit out of turn 7, and with all that going on in through turn 5, it just didn't allow them to take any advantage of the guy ahead of them. Everybody's kind of fallen back in order. Rodriguez Santos really wanting to get by the SRT car, but we're going to pick it back up with Fernando Jaques. Fernando 7/10 ahead of Kevin Simpson. This gap is just slightly opening up a little bit more, but for the most part they're closing 1/10 back and forth here and there. Right now it looks like Fernando Jaques up 8/10. We're 37, almost 38 minutes laps into this, so we're going to have, looks like 1, maybe 2 more laps once this completes, Rob.
Yeah, Simpson had got the gap down about 6/10 at the start of this lap, but Jaques with a strong mid-sector of the lap here, able to open that back up over Simpson. So it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. As you mentioned, we'll have this lap here, and then potentially when they cross the line, maybe 1 more, but it looks like they should be able to get across for possibly 2 more. We'll have to see. Barney looks like he's been wanting to work here this evening compared to the last couple weeks where he was
nice
on strike. So we'll see if he's got his flag out there. No white flag looks like this time by. So this will be this penultimate lap. 1 more to go after this one. So Kevin Simpson got this lap plus 1 more to try and make his way around Fernando Jaques. Jaques just needs to defend for 2 more laps, and he'll bring home round 7.
Fernando Hack as he's having, he's going to take that point penalty for switching cars, but that point penalty is well worth it when he's making up more than 20 points just on this race alone from his previous finishes. So we're going to go back down to where the battle's really happening. We've got Evan McKay following Gonzalo Cortez, Joey Costello, Matt Stadnick. In behind him, we've also got Oliver Rodriguez. So a nice little 5-car train here, really battling it out with about a lap and a half to go, Rob. This is where the interest is going to happen unless Kevin Simpson's able to close up. But going down the inside, just poking the nose out, not really making any advances. Just letting him know he's there, get a little bit into the head. Coming around through turns 6 and 7, looking for that great exit. Joey Costello looking to hold off Gonzalo Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez giving him a little bit of the fake and bake there, showing the front nose, trying to force a mistake by Costello, but Costello not falling for it at this point in time. It looks like Cortez might have a nice run here into 10A. B, we'll see if he makes another move here again. No, backs. Looks like he started backed out, kind of broke a little earlier, maybe trying to get a better run out of 10A and B to make a move into turn 1 on Costello, but really excellent run through 10A, B, 11 and 12 for Costello. This opened up a gap over here. Cortez pulled into the pits. Possible under fuel for Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez was only 10 seconds in his stall in his first pit stop, and I guess he just didn't have enough fuel, and that's unfortunate for him. But we're going to pick it back up with Fernando Haques. Fernando took the lead, took pole position in qualifying, took the lead right off the bat, has held on to that lead all the way through, only relinquishing the lead when he came into the pits a little bit early, holding a 7-10 second lead over Kevin Simpson. Kevin Simpson, our race winner last week at COTA, just doesn't look like he's going to have enough to maintain or catch up to Fernando Haques. Fernando Haques doing a fabulous job in this Acura. Kevin Simpson in the Acura behind him looks like he's going to hold on for second. Unless somebody makes a mistake, this is the result we're going to have.
Yeah, 2 more corners to go for Fernando Haques. Final lap here through turn 11, through turn 12, down across the line. Fernando Haques is going to take round 7. Kevin Simpson with a strong charge at the end. He's going to have to settle for second place. Haques' teammate Nene Tavares is going to bring it home. Final step on the podium. Looks like Jim Feliz is going to be the leader for the SRTE Army. Blake Seedy not too far behind. Stadnick able to hold off Costello and Rodriguez Santos. Luis Grullon, Evan McKay, Josh Spears, and the rest of the field just kind of cycling through here.
Yeah, all the battling with the SRTE cars, and everybody was really close. But by the time we came around the finish line, there was several tenths between everybody and not a whole lot of battling going on. We're going to follow along with Corey Sircone. Corey not having the race he was hoping for with that long pit stop, really costing him hard. David Mendonça, once again, that penalty dropping him all the way back to 15th place.
Yeah, Gonzalo Cortez in for another splash and go. He's going to come across the line. Fernando Torres with, I believe, our move of the day. We're going to nominate him as that. Adam Ostrich, Daniel Salmon, and Pete Mejia going to be our final car on the lead lap.
Yeah, it was a great race and a clean race, Rob. Not a whole lot of losing drivers in that. I think the only driver we lost was Ivan Bassano. So of the 21 starters, 20 finished on the lead lap. Great racing.
Yeah, we couldn't ask for much more than that. We had battles all throughout, but Fernando Haques is going to bring it home. He'll hold off the charge from Kevin Simpson in second place, Nene Tavares in third. Jim Feliz is going to bring it home in fourth. Blake Seedy, our top AM driver, in fifth. Matt Stadnick in sixth. Joey Costello in seventh. Oliver Rodriguez Santos in eighth. Luis Grullon in ninth, and running out the top 10, Evan McKay.
In 11th, we had Josh Spears, followed in 12th by Artie Mercedes. And then Douglas Curry. In 14th, we had Corey Sircone. 15th, David Mendonça, followed by Gonzalo Cortez in 16th. Fernando Torres, Adam Ostrich, Daniel Salmon, and Pete Mejia round out the top 20.
Yeah, that's it's all of our drivers that actually finished the race. Ivan Bassano didn't make it to the checker flag, and Emmett Lindquist didn't make it to the grid. So 2 great races, Rich, back to back at Road Atlanta. It's As I mentioned, it's a track that's really tough to pass at, but we did see a number of passes in the fixed series, a few passes in the open series, not so much. Seemed like the open setups were a little less compatible with really racing hard compared to the fixed setups, where a lot of our drivers kind of just got out into their position that they had early on. They were able to just kind of hold on to that. So doesn't look like we have anybody into the waiting interview area right now yet. We do have Daniel Zippy Salmon though, so we can check in with Zippy to see how his race went out there. Strong race for him. He was able to bring it home to the finish. Had some nice battles throughout this one. Zippy, well done.
I don't know about a strong race, Rob. I showed up and I put in an effort. We'll put it like that. I was listening to you guys, Richard. Yeah, that's a good point. And no pit space. As soon as you guys had somebody you suspected of pits, I'm surprised you didn't ask me about it. With that being a specialty of mine, but honestly, like I just went in and I joined the session with about 40 seconds left of the grid, so I didn't even get a pee break. That sucked, and all I had for set was an old Watkins one, so I put that in. It was stable, and then I heard the hint from Rob. Oh yeah, be able to take a lot of curb now. I'm like. Noted. The off tracks took a hit. I got to be honest, it was not my least safety rating potentially race, but definitely some fun battles. I got to say, these guys are irritatingly quick. This is my princess approved track #1, and I'm normally quite aggressive in traffic, and these guys, I didn't even get to have a sniff.
Well, you held your own, Zippy. You were as you mentioned, you battled against some guys that are definitely competitive. All throughout the field, we've seen guys with mid 2000 I rings battling with 4,000, 3,000, 5,000 I rings. So it doesn't really matter what your rating is in this series. You can find somebody competitive to battle with. But it looks like we got a couple drivers in the chat here
Oh, for
now.
sure.
So we'll say bye to Zippy for now. We'll kick him out of the booth and we'll keep him in for later.
Bring
But
the losers. Let's bring in the winners here.
let's bring in second place finisher Kevin Simpson, who caught up with Richard Swindells.
Hey, Kevin, congratulations on another fantastic finish, second place tonight.
Oh, thanks, Richard. I appreciate it. Second place, I'll take that.
Yeah, everybody seems to know Road Atlanta. Not everybody knows Coda, but Fernando gave you made it tough on you, but you got some time back up in the pits. How'd that race go for you?
Well, so my quali was pretty good, but Fernando put pressure on everybody. He came out of nowhere and put a 17.6 down. You know what I mean? He's been quick, but not 17.6, and it kind of put pressure on everybody else. And so, yeah, I did some pretty good quality laps, but nowhere close. He was like 2/10 quicker. So I was like, hey, this is okay. I've got a good setup for following, and I'm just gonna save fuel. But he kept the pressure on, and I made one mistake, and he just left. He got the lead out to 1.5, and I was still saving. I was like, I'm gonna save tires, I'm gonna save fuel. And when I came out of the pits, we were really close. If I would have just underfueled and made him pass me, I should have done that. But hey, it's second place, and I'll certainly take it. But can we go back to Coda or no?
Well, you had a great race at Coda. You had a great race a couple weeks before that. No, unfortunately, not this season, Kevin. But second's pretty good. Any shout outs tonight?
Yeah, Fernando. Shout out to him, man. I wish he would come in. Yeah, there he is. He's gonna come interview. I want to hear what the champ sounds like. But I'm
Yeah,
looking
we
forward to. I'm looking forward not to Le Mans is next week, and I don't want any part of that. But
I don't blame you.
if Sebring and Imola, we're okay at those. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what you've got for the rest of the season. Maybe you'll surprise everybody at Le Mans. Who knows?
No, no.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
All right.
So that was second place, Kevin Simpson. Let's bring in our winner of the race, Fernando Hawkes. Fernando, you made the change into the Acura this week. Definitely looked like a better choice than the Ferrari. How did your race go from your seat?
Well, yeah, it was a great choice, but it wasn't easy. I had to adapt to all the things that this car does that the Ferrari doesn't. But at the end, it was a pretty good race. It was super hard for me. Seeing Kevin there the whole race, getting close in some corners. So it was a really, really hard race for me.
Yeah, Kevin was just in here earlier, just preaching about how quick you were on track. He couldn't believe the pace you had. But are you kind of wishing you would have changed to the Acura a little sooner in this season, or is it what's done is done?
I thought about it, but the next track is gonna be Le Mans, so I was like trying to wait for Le Mans to be in the Ferrari that I think is gonna be a good car. But at the end, I see that most of the guys that are competing with me in the pro class are using the Acura, so I thought let's do it driver by driver.
Excellent job, Fernando. Well done. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Well, yeah, I really want to say thanks to all the guys on the team for all the help and all the practice on the week that make us better every week, and also to my wife that is always there looking at the race. Even I think she don't like it, but she does. So yeah, and thanks to you guys, a really nice event, and I really hope it keeps getting better.
Congrats, Fernando. Well done. We hope to see you impress again next week at Le Mans. Best of luck.
Same guys. Have a good night.
Okay, that was our winner, Fernando Jaquez. Let's bring in our top AM driver to catch up with Richard Swindells, Blake Seedy.
Hey, Blake, congratulations.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
A nice race victory for you. We haven't seen that for a little bit. And how'd that race go for you? It looked like a lot of SRTE cars all around you, but you managed to, hold them all off and gap them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the race was really fun. I think it was a lot like last week where so a lot of my teammates in front of me, so just another day at the practice, so to speak. But it went well. I really just tried to hold on to those guys in front of me to stay in their draft, but they really broke me earlier than I wanted to, so I'm a little disappointed in that. And then Jim got me right out of the end there, fuel saving throughout the race, and he got a killer pit and got me coming out of the pit lane there. But hats off to everybody, man. That was a really incredible race and really difficult. So for everyone to kind of be in it at the end was really fun.
Yeah, we Rob and I were watching that train of orange cars going down the track, and you guys all, your practicing is paying off, and a very clean race we noticed. So hats off to all the drivers. Congratulations once again. What do you think about Le Mans next week?
I'll be honest, I really haven't had much time on it, but I know I and the team will definitely be working hard at it as we did this week. So we'll figure it out, and I'll let you know if I could get into the broadcast again, get on a broadcast here and get an interview. I'll let you know how it goes then.
All right. Well, that sounds good. You want to give us a shout out here there, Blake?
Yeah, again, just thanks again to you guys and everyone who's running this league. Yeah, I know it takes a lot of work and a lot of time for everybody, so we appreciate the effort for putting this on for us. The racing has been a lot of fun, and always to my team, SRT. We really trade off a lot of feedback and I guess insiders secrets that we share to each other that really helps us, and I know I've gained a lot of benefits from it. So thanks to everybody helping out here.
Okay, we'll see you. We'll see you next week, and good luck in your practice efforts.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that was our AM winner, Blake Seedy. Looks like let's bring Matt Stadnick in one of our SRTE Army cars that were linked up there at the start. Matt, looks like you kind of got yourself a little bit of the meat in the sandwich in the SRTE sandwich round there. Were you just kind of holding steady, trying to keep the team in pace where they were, or were you actually trying to find a way around your teammates, Zedi and Feliz, up ahead?
No, I mean, Jim and Blake had great pace all weekend when we were practicing, so I sort of knew that if they hooked it up, that they were a couple tenths faster. So it just sort of got in a train, and the Porsche, you can do it around here, but it seemed like the Acuras had a little bit of a better car around here. But we do what we can, and it was fun. It was a good race. I mean, congratulations to Blake. He definitely earned that one for sure.
Yeah, it was well done by him. You had mentioned the Porsche is struggling a little bit towards the Acuras. I myself been driving the Porsche in just kind of a couple fun leagues I've been doing on the side here when I get a chance to actually drive. And they've been the high speed tracks, Fuji, Monza, and I've found that the Porsche is kind of down a couple of mile an hour compared to the other ones. We go to Le Mans next week. That's definitely going to be a top speed track. How you feeling bringing the
Don't
Porsche to
remind
that
me.
for?
I mean, the thing is like they want you can run the 9.7 wing around here, but it's so on its heels that it's a little bit too uncomfortable. I mean, you make one wrong slip or something and you're into the boonies. So running that higher wing helps you be a little more confident. So I think just that confidence makes you a little bit faster. But it is slower. So it's sort of a give and take. Do you want to be a little bit comfortable the whole race or on your heels? So we do what we can, but it was fun, you know, running the train the whole time. And we just we told each other in the beginning, just, you know, let's just stay in a train and push each other and get sort of a buffer from behind. And then at the end, we can, you know, duke it out if we have to. But so.
Yeah, it definitely showed that looked like we're all trying to work together and trying not really to force the pace and cause anybody a race here. But before we let you go, Matt, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, just shout out to SRT, and we're going to keep pushing, and hopefully, you know, I don't know what Le Mans is going to bring. I haven't ran there in a Porsche in a long time, so I'm hoping that we can find something around there. But it's racing, right? So we'll figure something out.
Excellent job, Matt.
And
Best of
thank
luck.
you guys. I mean, you guys put on a great broadcast every week, so thank you very much for
Well,
doing that for us.
We appreciate that. It wouldn't be much of a broadcast if we didn't have great racing on track. So well done. Best of luck to you and your teammates next week. We hope to see you again.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care. So that was Matt Stadnick. Let's finish it up here with Joey Costello, who caught up with Richard Swindell. Joey, our 7th place finisher.
And Joey, 7th place finisher, third on the podium for the amateurs. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a very fun race.
We noticed a lot of SRTE cars in that pack you were in. A lot of team strategy going on there throughout the race, was there?
Honestly, it was pretty silent on comms tonight. I think sometimes this track kind of corners come at you quickly and it can get kind of intense. So we were pretty much tight-lipped the whole night.
Oh, it was good to watch. It was interesting, Rob and I just watching, you know, you guys battling, and then poor Oliver Rodriguez Santos is kind of stuck in the middle of all of you and not really having anywhere to go. You guys did a great job, and you yourself did a great job getting a podium. Nice to see you up there, sitting 3rd overall in the championship, and it looks like you're going to close that gap to Corey Sarcone a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think this was a track where I wasn't really expecting it, so really happy to get a good result in the AM classification. And yeah, we'll see how these kind of last couple of weeks go and how the series unfolds.
How about Le Mans? Are you comfortable or familiar with it at all?
Familiar, but not comfortable, and it might have to be a drop week for me based on some scheduling stuff, unfortunately. So gotta, you know, really keep it on for the rest of the races that I can make.
Well, if you don't make it, best of luck with whatever's going on. If you do make it, we look forward to seeing how you do, and hopefully we get to talk to you a little bit later on this season again.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Any shout-outs tonight, Joey?
Yeah, SRT. Just, you know, fun group of guys to race with. I think we all had a really good time kind of in that pack, you know, keeping each other honest. So, yeah, just a blast racing tonight and kind of holding the pace with some teammates that I know are really quick.
Excellent. Well, we will see you either next week or the following week. Either way, best of luck, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Okay, that was Joey Costello, our 7th place finisher. That's going to wrap it up for us here at Road Atlanta. As you heard Zippy earlier on, a Princess approved track. Next week we head to Le Mans, Rich. I suspect it's going to be an interesting one. A whole lot of space out there on track. The Porsches are definitely going to struggle. It's interesting to see how, if any of our other drivers in the Porsche, maybe they take the points deduction
think
and move into an Acura.
I think I may struggle myself there. Le Mans is not a Richard approved track. I'm no princess, but I've only done, I think, 2 or 3 races there over my iRacing career. So, but I am familiar with it. So we will see what happens. I think it's going to be a little bit more spread out than we saw tonight.
No doubt. But again, I am Rob Campbell. In the booth, the grumpy old gentleman next to me, that's Richard Swindells. And we'll see you all next week at Le Mans. Bye for now.